The Nook.
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 Hello,
Hey,
ladies, gentlemen, others. It's good to see you all.
welcome to Saturday. Welcome to episode 4. On my document, I still had 3. It's not incorrect. Episode 4 of the Nookcast. How's everybody doing? Joe, how are you?
I'm doing all right. A little bit better considering the state of at least the U.S.
It has been a week.
It's been
been
a long
week.
4 years, if we're honest.
True. Just been sitting up here in Canada, just like with my coffee, just sipping and watching from afar. Although, you know what? Just to kind of derail quickly, Canadians actually really care about what happens in the US because, trade agreements, we share a massive border with the US. So, it does kind of affect us too. I actually, at my day job, every Friday, my CEO does like a half an hour kind of live stream where people can have open Q&As with him. And someone asked like his thoughts on the election and how it relates to Alberta business. And it was, it affects us too. So we're up here watching. But yeah, crazy week, crazy 4 years. But
It absolutely has been.
And how's your November so far?
It's going all right so far, I'd say. Better than I thought it would be. And my wallet is not prepared for the coming months. There are a lot of good games coming.
All right. Well, guys, today I'm excited for this podcast. I think Joe is too. Today we're going to be diving into everything relating to game choice when it comes to streaming. So if you're a streamer, game choice is something that, we all go through. Do we stick with a single franchise? Do we stick with one genre of games? Or do we go the 100% variety route? And how does game choice affect your growth and the community that you cultivate? We're going to go all into that. And we're also going to take the opportunity in this stream to kind of carry over from 2 streams ago where we talked about anticipated games. But instead, we're going to talk about the pros and cons of streaming brand new games that have just been released, because that is something that I think everybody kind of thinks about and goes through. And joining us for this lovely topic today, we are going to be bringing on Lexi and Daunt a little bit later, 2 fellow Nookian members. So we're really excited to have them on the podcast today. And just a friendly reminder, again, we'll not be engaging with the chat or interacting directly for most of the podcast, but we will have questions at the very end. So if you think of questions, we just ask that you hold them until the very end. And
we just ask that
might
you
end
keep
up
your
answering
pants
it.
on.
Oh my God. With that, before we dive into the actual topic, as you guys know, we always like to talk about Nook updates and Twitch gaming news. So we're going to go into that right now. So with Nook updates, the Big Dig is still going strong, but it's just about over, I feel. There's only like maybe one turn left. It is getting pretty close to finishing. The team is on save number 12 right now. There has been a ton of clips and funny moments and awesome moments and moments of people almost dying and moments of people dying. This whole Big Dig has been so entertaining to watch. So if you guys have not checked in yet, please do so. There also are videos on our YouTube channel as well. So definitely keep up to date on that. And then the Nook Spotlight, the other podcast that we're doing that Hampy is taking over. The 3rd episode with Cave Mobster was published on our YouTube channel. If you guys have not yet checked that out, you must. Just a reminder, the Nook Spotlight is where Hampy is interviewing each of us kind of one-on-one for quite some time and diving into everything streaming, and we go into our backgrounds. It's been myself, JJM Jim, and Cave Mobster so far, with many more to come. So please go subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already, because that's where all those videos are going to be posted. And Caves was wonderful. Everyone's, Jim's was great. Caves was great. I'm excited for everyone else. They're just so entertaining to watch, and it's good to get to know more about the team.
Mm-hmm.
It's lovely. All right. With that, we have a lot to talk about ish. I feel like this topic could be a whole podcast, but I think the biggest Twitch news that we have recently that I really want to talk about is DMCA.
Yeah.
Because this has just blown up recently. Like there was a few months ago where it blew up, and I know a lot of people kind of made some changes and did some things, and a lot of other people didn't. But over the last, I want to say like 2 weeks, it's kind of been crazy. Big partners on Twitch have been temporarily suspended or banned. There's been people that have been getting hit for their alerts, which I honestly thought alerts were safe. Kind of the way that I've been going about this personally is like, you know, if sections of my VOD are muted, I kind of go and see like, okay, what did I play there? And then I've avoided that stuff. I don't think I've ever been to a VOD that's been muted just because of an alert going off, but
Yeah,
it has been confirmed that there have been people getting taken down for their alerts, which is like, okay.
Yeah, it's
okay,
that's like a 5-second clip of whatever sound you're playing. Man, that's really rough. That's hard.
The one that happened this week was one of the community managers for Bethesda has been streaming for like 6 years, and they've branded, and a lot of streamers do this. They'll set up an alert that's really popular, and it gets so popular that they end up like kind of creating a brand around it, and they'll set up emotes for it, like so that anytime that alert goes off, people end up spamming that relative emote in the chat. And I love that. I think that streamers that have done that is amazing. But this one exactly. But this woman who, so her main sub alert, I believe, is the Bacon Pancakes remix with Alicia Keys singing like that New York section.
Yeah.
What's that show called? Adventure Time?
Yeah,
I think
Adventure
is
Time.
the show. Yeah. Anyway, so that's been her alert for like 6 years, and she has emotes that are like for that alert, and people spam it, and it's all fun. She got hit for that little alert where Alicia Keys sings that.
Wow.
And I saw those tweets from her, and I was just like, okay, that's
yeah, it's
heartbreaking.
The weirdest thing is it's just like all of a sudden, and apparently people are getting hit for even deleted.
Yes,
because like there was that whole wave of people just going back and just deleting like their entire catalog of being on Twitch, just going through like saving, I guess, as much of their clips and previous broadcasts as they could, and then deleting others or downloading them and then uploading them onto YouTube. But even that's not saving people. No,
it's not, because Twitch apparently, and I didn't know this, but even if you've deleted a VOD or a clip, there is still a way that you can get to that publicly. And yeah, there's been situations where people have deleted their whole catalog and they're still getting hit for VODs from 2016, 2017 that have long been deleted. Kind of for my news about all this, I don't know if you guys are following Zach Bussey, I hope that's how you say his last name, on Twitter. I'll throw the link into chat, but Zach is kind of where I've been getting all of my news from. This Twitter thread, for example, he put out yesterday, he's trying to figure this out. And he said, I've documented everything. There is simply no clear answer to what happens when you get a copyright strike. It seems to be different by the day. And he's just basically calling out for Twitch to have some kind of communication, because if people are getting hit even after deleting their stuff, I feel like almost every streamer on the platform could be subject to getting hit then.
Yeah. I mean,
unless
even before, like, I remember when I first started streaming, like, 2.5 years ago now. Like, I remember I played a lot of copyrighted music. Now I avoid it. And I have been for like a little, like about, I guess probably about 1.5 years now. I've been avoiding it, but that would suck if like they have stuff on me from way back then, and then just all of a sudden my channel just poofs just because of stuff that I don't even have on my channel anymore anyway.
Yeah, like I know that you get 3 strikes, and then if you have or 2 kind of safe ones, and I think then if you get a 3rd, then that's when your channel is officially
but that could be 3 streams in a row. Back then, like you could just ping.
Yeah, it's wild. And then also too, I haven't heard of anything specific, but there's also now being live takedowns as well. So if you're streaming live and playing copyrighted music in real time, they're actioning that as well.
Holy crap.
Mm-hmm. But you know what? I honestly agree with Zach though. Like, if you're going to strike people for this, but then provide no clear communication on how, like, especially if people are getting hit for their old stuff, like you can't, like, that's why everyone mass deleted, because we assumed that was what we needed to do. And I went and did it too. Like I went and removed, I didn't remove everything, like, but I removed like some VODs that were still up that were muted. And yeah, just kind of did a quick clear out of clips that I knew had copyrighted music playing during them. And yeah, it's just, people can make changes moving forward, and we've seen a bunch of streamers do that. But if our old stuff is going to get hit, it's like there's nothing we can do about that. And Twitch needs to come out and be like absolutely clear on what.
Yeah, because I mean, like even with YouTube, like I'm not 100% sure on how everything over there works, but from my understanding, at least what I've heard any YouTuber talk about it, is like they actively get like the strike against them, and they know when they get it and what it's for and what it's targeting and what section of which video they're hitting. And they can even go in so much as to take the video down, just edit that out, and then put it back up. Like, so it seems like, at least over on YouTube, there's a little bit of a thing of where, okay, we're gonna hit this, make a change now. But it seems like with Twitch streamers, they're just there's none of that process at all. Like you just all of a sudden everything's gone for me. Yeah.
The other thing too with YouTube is things seem different over there just in general, because you've got, like, if you go search a song, for example, yeah, the Vivo official is probably going to pop up. But outside of that, there's probably going to be a video from 10 years ago that some random just went and uploaded that has the most views
like
of
a
that
lyric
song.
video or an FMV. Remember those?
Right? Like, and those are still up. Like full songs that were uploaded many, many years ago have not ever been taken down. But then somebody can upload like a new, really nice edited YouTube video that maybe has like 10 seconds or 15 seconds of song in it. And then that's flagged and taken down. And it's just like, to me, there's no consistency there. The other thing too, and like, I don't know, I'm not legality informed with DMCA stuff, but like what would be nice is if there could be some kind of fair use allowance or like exemption, or because like there's fair use when it comes to movies and TV shows. Like if you go on YouTube and you want to watch people reacting to like Game of Thrones episodes, for example,
it's like a 10-minute, isn't it?
Yeah. It's 10 minutes where like you can have the audio playing the whole time, but in terms of having the TV show on your YouTube video, there's a fair use like time limit. And some reactors have even added that fair use timer to their overlay for their YouTube video. To make sure that if someone ever happens to watch their video, they know that they're following that fair use thing. And it's just like, I wish that we could have something similar for music where it's like, I'm not trying to,
I'm definitely not trying to take credit for the work of,
exactly,
I don't know who, like The Weeknd. If that music happens to play on my stream, definitely not trying to take credit for that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like the DMCA is just, and I don't know if it's something like, if it's just Twitch not taking enough precautions for like the possibility of this happening, or if it's just the DMCA being really petty because of the state of them. I guess they're just not making the money they need from other places, so now they found, like, I don't know, I suppose a gold mine with Twitch. I don't know, but it's preposterous.
Well, it's funny too, because, there's always articles that come out saying how like vinyl sales are through the roof. Everybody's buying vinyl.
There are a lot of
vinyl has never sold as well as it had, well, going back to when vinyl was king. like, you know, vinyl is coming back. Like people are buying vinyl like crazy, and people are like, I wish that the music industry could see that by all of these streamers streaming music. Like it's kind of the same way that games, like people streaming games, like people find out about games from streamers, end up going and buying that game. I have definitely gone and I found so many musicians and bands from streams.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the song is playing.
I can agree with that. My actually
right?
one of the you know, like it's fairly popular now, but like one of my favorite streamers was listening to synthwave back in like 2013, 2014, and they showed me this group called Gunship. And then from there, I went and listened to them because the streamer was listening to it, and I really liked it. And then from there, and I just like found so many artists off of that. And I feel like what a lot of these companies don't realize is like it really is just free advertising, you know, for anything. Like we're out here, you know, like nobody's going to think in their right mind that I created this music or created this game. You know, the internet's pretty smart that way. And they're going, and then people from there will just, you know, they'll either go and purchase the game, look into the game, look into the music, look into the artists. Like, I don't know. It just seems really stupid, especially for, especially to be dropping like these big names off of Twitch as well. Like I feel like they're like those have even more pull than, you know, like me or you know, with the influence of any of these things. Because I don't know if you like there's a League of Legends streamer. Well, I don't know that he only plays League of Legends. He used to be a pro player, but I remember like just recently I saw that his channel got banned. His name's Voyboy, and all of a sudden his channel's just gone, and you know Twitch isn't responding to it or anything, and he doesn't know what to do. Like
it sucks.
Yeah.
Like yeah, it's such a messy situation, and I hope that Twitch and Amazon work to make things like, I don't know. The other, like, there's two things to this. One is that Twitch and Amazon have to do better, which I know is asking a lot. But they do.
Asking
they have to do
Twitch
better
this year.
They have to make things for, and I know that soundtrack is like part of that, but that's a whole
I'm surprised,
thing
like
right now.
honestly, with the way this DMCA thing is like coming out, and I guess like it doesn't matter if you're like changing the way you're doing things now. They're going and hitting your stream from like back in 2015 if you've been streaming that long and just pinging you on that. But like you would think that the new Twitch music thing that they brought out, like why are they even putting that into like a selective, you know, opt-in beta thing? I feel like they should just make it like an available. Like, did they open it up, or
I think it is open up now. The issue though with soundtrack is that, and King on our team was experiencing this, but people that were using soundtrack, their streams were crashing like crazy.
Are they? Oh,
like
wow.
King experienced so many drops in his one stream, and he stopped using soundtrack, and I believe soundtrack was the reason for that. So there was this like weird conflict there.
No, I guess maybe I haven't looked into how it works. Like, so is it so it's tied to your
soundtrack? Is so you add it as a source in your OBS, and then when you stream, there is an overlay on your stream, so people at any point can see what song an artist is playing. It's a really neat concept, and I hope that they can make it work. Because I would be willing to use it. I was thinking it was like it looks like it when I've seen it. It looks like a Spotify is what it looks like. I thought it was just a player. It is a player. That kind of integrates with your OBS, and then integrates with your Twitch channel in terms of like this overlay. So basically, when you hover over the player in Twitch, that at the bottom of the screen of the stream, a little box will pop
show
up.
the artist in the song,
and then the viewer can go and click on that, and that'll take them to the song. And I don't know where it actually takes them to.
Amazon, I'm assuming.
Maybe. I don't know.
Buy this album.
Yeah, basically. But I don't know. And then, so along with like Twitch and Amazon needing to figure their crap out, like I also like copy things have to change. Like we're not living in 1993 anymore when it comes to music. Like it's 2020. Streaming services are through the roof across all areas of entertainment.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I would like to be able to stream the music that I'd like to stream low in the background with still myself and the
like,
game over
with,
top of things. But
even with YouTube, like you were talking before, like there's a lot of things of where like even people watching like movie trailers and stuff like that, like reacting to those. Like there's rules for that of where you can watch the whole trailer, but you can't just sit there and watch the trailer. You have to like be making commentary. But I feel like, you know, it seems like it'd be so easy for like a streamer if there's like just low music in the background and you're talking over it like streamers do. I feel like it shouldn't be an issue, because at that point, like the point of the stream is obviously not the music. It is just a backdrop to the music, or to the stream.
Unless you are a musician, and then this is where things really get tricky, because like, you know, I follow a few musicians that do a lot of covers. One musician that I follow does live learns, so people can pay to have him learn a song. So obviously he's going on YouTube and grabbing that song and having it play in the background, and he is listening to it to learn it, writing notes, and then goes and plays with the track playing. And that's kind of how he's built his whole stream. And then for everything else that he's playing, he's a drummer, so obviously the drum track is removed. But when he's adding it back in, the algorithm bot thing that goes and mutes VODs cannot differentiate between the actual song and then just it's him playing drums along to it. Like it sounds so identical that it can't figure it out. You know, and like it's just so funny to me that Twitch recently was pushing the music category super hard, and they were featuring musicians on the front page like crazy. And
you would
doing
think that
these events,
like any of this would have come up then, like they had to have known like how the DMCA worked and everything. When like if they're pushing all that, like obviously they have to have somebody in the background being like, oh well, you know, I don't know, the DMCA might come and do this and that. So it definitely doesn't make any sense to me, like why
and
like this seems to be, or maybe it's not a surprise to Twitch, but it's just like this thing of all of a sudden now you have to worry about anything that you've ever played on your stream ever.
And then the musicians on Twitch that like are actual, like, because I follow and watch Matthew Heffy, who is the vocalist of Trivium, and he streams mostly him playing his guitar and singing, and he does that live. He's got a really nice studio, and he games as well, so his channel is a mix of both. But yeah, like when he's streaming himself playing guitar and singing, like he is singing Trivium songs mostly, but sometimes he'll sing like other songs, like he's done Metallica quite a few times. And you know, I don't actually know if Trivium owns the rights to all their stuff, but
God, imagine if they didn't, and his stream got taken down from his own label.
he also though, so before COVID was a thing, he also streamed, like he would take a stream setup and backstage at a Trivium concert, like he would live stream them before they go out on stage. And so people could get like this behind the scenes like view of the band like preparing and setting up.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And that's so cool. Yeah. So I don't know. I worry about people like him, because he's definitely not the only musician. And actually T-Pain, I think with T-Pain, you're able to use his music as long as it's after a certain period, because I think he created something that he fully owns. And I believe he came out not long ago saying, hey guys, you can use my music as long as it's after music that I've put out after this date. Anything before I don't own, technically, don't use it. You know, and he's come out and said that. It's cool that some musicians, I think it's cool that some musicians have done that. But yeah, DMCA, man, like it just, I'm in the process. Like I want to redo all of my alerts and stuff. It like pains me to do that though, because I really like what I have. But at the same time, like I'm at the point where I just don't want to risk it. And
especially because
I was kind
yours
of
are all Metallica, right?
mostly Metallica. Yeah,
Mm.
I have some that are different, but yeah, I very heavily around Metallica. Now, here's the thing about Metallica though, is they own all their stuff.
Oh,
They bought all their stuff from the record company, and they 100% fully own it now. And with that, I've never actually had a Metallica song muted on my VODs. I've checked. I've never ever had, back when I actually played Metallica, like when I was actually
really
playing,
cool.
because I used to play music, like I used to actually have music going. Song requests were a really big thing in my wood burning streams back in the day when I did that.
Mhm.
And yeah, Metallica songs were never muted. So that's kind of where I flip flop too. It's like, you know, I can't find any information online, and maybe I haven't looked hard enough, but I don't know if Metallica has hired anyone to go and do things like that and take down if anyone's playing Metallica, or if they just are at the point where they just don't care, which is hilarious because, of course, back in the day, they cared a lot.
Yeah.
about people getting their music ineligibly. Illegitimately. I don't know the word, but I want to say
something
right
that starts with ill. Yeah.
Basically. Illegally. I think that's the word I was looking for. But yeah, so I don't know. But I've also got some other, like, you know, I was going the road of having mashups be my alerts until that woman from Bethesda had her alert, or had her stuff taken down because of her alert, because her alert was 100% a mashup. That Bacon Pancakes remix, 100% a mashup. And because it caught that. Now, I don't know if it caught that because that mashup in particular is very popular. But anyway, seeing that kind of made me rethink my whole thing, and just maybe I just have to go the JJam Jim route and actually just make all of my song intros for people. And yeah.
Making your own music. Lovely.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm sure
Anyway.
like if this really grows to be a thing, there is going to be a whole new surge. Like Harris Heller has like he has a bunch of different playlists that are all like made by him and friends, I believe, and they're all copyright free. And I'm sure like that trend is probably going to continue of like, oh, here's this style of alert and this style of alert, and people making like little like 10-second soundbite things that you can use that they'll sell you for like $2, and you can use that. And I'm sure like Nerd or Die and all that owned TV, they're all going to hop on to that, especially if this DMCA thing really keeps ramping up.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this evolves, but I thought it was worth talking about today because this is definitely the Twitch news that I've been paying attention to lately and just really watching closely. And so I don't have notifications turned on for anybody on Twitter now except that guy, Zach. I actually went and turned on notifications for him. So now every time he tweets, I actually get something to my phone.
Oh, you get a little ping.
I have never set that up for anybody before.
Oh, yeah, that's annoying as hell. I definitely wouldn't do that.
But for him, I was just like, you know what? I really want to make sure I don't miss anything that this guy is saying. So I did enable that notification feature for his Twitter account.
It's good to keep, I mean, especially, you know, with streaming, you know, it's good stuff to keep up on. Yeah.
I just want to make sure that I'm going the route of I definitely don't play actual songs anymore. Just got to figure out this whole alert thing.
Yeah.
But
at least it sounds like with Metallica, you're safe for now until they catch on too, and then start coming after people.
Yeah, we'll see. I still don't know what I've decided with that yet, but. Anyway,
yeah, I think we've exhausted the DMCA. Either way, it's dumb. Too. I think that about sums it up. All this Twitch, fix it. Yeah.
Twitch and DMCA, because I mean, I can't put 100% of the blame on Twitch.
Yeah, but I mean, like it's Twitch's platform. Like they should have, like the DMCA is going to do whatever the DMCA does, but Twitch, they could have done a better job anywhere at any point in the last 5 years that at least I feel like it's been 5 years since they've like really started like pushing that music genre with like the Twitch sings and everything. I feel like at some point in there, this had to have come up in their meetings, and they're like, "No, it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine."
Most likely, yeah. Which sucks because you've got literally millions of creators that are kind of left in the dark with this right now and don't know what to do. And we just want some direction. We just want some
just
clear
give me
direction
rules.
on what we
Give me
have
rules.
to do.
I can follow rules.
Yep. Yeah. Anyway, did you want to talk about the news that you wanted to talk about?
No, we'll do that in the.
Or are we going to do that later?
Yeah, we'll do it in the actual the meat and potatoes of the podcast, so to speak.
Awesome. All right, guys. With that, we'll move now into our out of context quote of the podcast. So we've got a straw poll ready to go for you guys to vote. The out of context quote today is, "I want to look in your things." Sorry, that might have been too forward. We have Chubex, Space Shark, Yo Josh Sharino, and Falloin. Fa.
Fa.
All right, we'll leave it open for you guys to vote here in. Hecky, I just saw what you put in chat. We gotta make a command for it.
We should.
I'm sorry.
Instead,
we have here.
We're very pro, and we just link it.
Hang on. Did the link go in chat? I don't.
No. We're not even that pro.
No.
I mean, this channel's not even. We're not even an affiliate yet.
I wish we could have the integrated. Okay. Why do they lock that feature behind?
I don't know why.
Affiliate?
I don't know why putting a poll at the top of your chat is affiliate worthy.
All right, we'll leave this be for a bit, and we'll show the results a little bit in like a minute or two.
Yeah.
But with those numbers, we should be affiliate. We just need to stream way more.
Yeah.
We need to stream way more. That's it.
Yeah, we just need to have more streams. We need to start making more podcasts. This one already seems like it comes around. So
group games.
The group games we should do more. I think that'd be nice.
It's hard to arrange sometimes with time zones, and then to plan the days, and then it's like it's tough.
Yeah, gathering people all together in one spot to sit for a certain amount of time. It's definitely tough.
11 votes so far. 12.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I was like, wait, how do you know? And I was like, oh wait, I haven't like.
I'm into it on my end. All right. Well, shall we show the results?
Absolutely.
12 votes is pretty good. Guys, thank you for voting. A lot of you, over 50% of you, think that it was Space Shark. I regret to inform you that
they have an auto refresh.
Yeah, they do have an auto refresh.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. I'll remember that next time. Wasn't I complaining that they needed an auto refresh? They didn't have that when we first started.
They didn't have that last time.
Yeah,
no,
that's new. Hey,
they heard you. Anyway, guys, the answer, the person that said this is actually Josh. Yo, Josh Sharino. I want to look in your things. Sorry, that might have been too forward. The amount of out of context quotes we have, guys, like
astounding.
It's yeah.
It's a mountain.
But we'll tell Space Shark that everybody thought it was her. her and Chubex. The team is just so out of context. It's great. I love it. Guys, thank you all for voting. For those of you that voted, much appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
With that now, I think it's time that we introduce our guests. I think we should do that. So, guys, today we have Lexi and Daunt on the podcast with us. First time. Welcome, ladies. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
This is going to be super fun. But before we actually dive into the meat and potatoes of the stream, I would love both of you to introduce yourselves and explain kind of who you are and a little bit about your streams, in case there are people in the chat that have never had a chance to go check you out or watch your stream. Lexi, you can go first.
Should I just do my rage spiel intro that I do every single time because I have it memorized?
Do it.
Absolutely.
Hi, everyone. My name is LexiTRexi. I'm a variety streamer here on Twitch. I've been streaming for about 2.5 years. I like to play chill games like Animal Crossing New Horizons, Stardew Valley, and Minecraft. I also like to play platformers and adventure games and story games. If you're curious about all of the games that I have ever played on my stream, you can go to my channel and go to the FAQ on my website, where all of my games are listed, as well as my stream gear, and some other questions are answered.
Solid. Yeah, that's a...
I say it literally every single time.
That's a lot to memorize. I'm impressed. That's really good.
I mean, it summarizes everything really well, I think.
It does. Well, wonderful introduction. Daunt, over to you.
Hi. Apologies. First, there's fireworks going off outside my house, so there's nothing I can do about it. If you can hear it, I'm sorry. Yeah, I am Dauntless. I'm a variety streamer as well. I've been streaming for about 4.5 years. And I'm currently playing a lot of Oxygen Not Encoded, Stardew Valley, and I just started Darkest Dungeon this week. So, yeah.
Is it
pretty much
indeed the darkest dungeon you've seen?
It is the most stressful dungeon ever.
Okay.
But a lot of fun. I like it. But yeah, no, it's that's about all I have to say, really.
Perfect.
People come to my channel for my accent. That's it. That's the only reason they're there.
Your accent's pretty fantastic, though.
It is.
I don't have one. I don't know what you're talking about.
We all have accents. We all have accents. Even if we think we don't, we do. All right. Once again, thank you guys so much for joining us today to talk about game choice for streaming. Just a reminder, chat, we just ask that you hold any and all questions until the end. What we're going to do is, I think that it would be best if all four of us talk about our own experiences with game choice. And I'll kind of leave all of us to kind of explain in any kind of way that we feel. But basically, you know, we've all been streaming for a while now. Let's just talk about kind of our how we choose games and kind of what we've formed our channel around with respect to gaming.
Mean the super stressful choice that happens every week or so? I hate it.
Who would like to go first?
I can go first.
Beautiful.
So, what you've mentioned so many different topics. The first one that we were talking about is just how we choose the game every day. Is that what it is?
I was thinking we could start with how we chose it throughout.
So starting from the beginning.
Yeah. From the
has your stream changed over time with respect to game choice? Yeah, you could start from the beginning, go to what you do now, and just basically anything. Like Lexi mentioned, you're a variety streamer, but do you stick to certain genres of games in general, or we just love to know what?
Sure. I'm way more variety now than I used to be, because when I first started streaming, I wasn't a gamer at all. I had always wanted to be, but every time that my guy friends who were gamers tried to introduce me to stuff, they were terrible about it. And I just thought, I have to play games like COD and stuff to be a real gamer, and that stuff's hard and I don't really enjoy it, so I guess I'm not a gamer. And then my boyfriend introduced me to Minecraft, and I was like, I can get behind this. But the first games that I ever streamed were the BioShock trilogy. I also played, oh my God, it was so fun. It was such a great introduction to gaming for me, because the BioShock trilogy were the first games that I ever played that weren't really chill games because I would play Sims and I played a lot of Animal Crossing for the GameCube and when I was like a kid and stuff like that. Stuff that didn't really have an end. You can play it as long as you want, whenever you want. So going to something that would like eventually get to a definitive end and like had shooting and survival and stuff was very different, but it was a nice intro. So that's what I streamed first. I also play a little bit of Sims early on and eventually decided to stream Minecraft. And I streamed Minecraft for like 2 or 3 months straight after I started doing that. And that's what helped my channel take off. Eventually I decided, and like throughout all of that, I would play little games randomly, preferably a game that would only take like one stream to finish, really short games, so that I could get back to the more popular game and continue to try to grow my channel, but also try and be diverse. Eventually, I grew to a good enough size where now I can kind of stream whatever I want and still have a really good amount of viewers. And it's really nice. But it did take a lot of planning and considering I'm small. I was a small streamer. You can't play whatever you want and have like a big viewership. Sadly, that's the way that it is. But so now I didn't realize it until I think Hampy mentioned it one day after I rated him. I'm heavily a Nintendo streamer. That was not the intention, but I play a lot of Nintendo games and I do love them.
Nintendo makes good stuff.
I do. I kind of abandoned Minecraft for Animal Crossing New Horizons. That was what I was streaming
As the rest
heavily.
of the world did.
Yeah.
Like back in, what was it, March? April?
March.
Yeah. March. I have almost 1,000 hours in Animal Crossing New Horizons. It's bad, but I love it. I love it so much. And aside from that, I really still like to play really short, like adventure story games. Those usually only take like 1 or 2 streams, and it's a nice break from Animal Crossing or whatever other like Nintendo probably game that I'm playing. Sometimes we sneak in a platformer, but that's where I'm at right now.
And you mentioned Lexi that, you know, now that you're a decent size, you don't, you know, with that, you're becoming more variety because you know that you're always going to have viewers no matter what. Do you still kind of look at your data and analytics after a particular game and kind of see if it's doing well or not? Like, do you let the numbers influence your game choice, I guess is what I'm getting at.
It's hard not to let it influence you, but I do try my best not to let it. Honestly, after I got a follow bot, I got follow botted at one point really badly. It was a couple of thousand followers. And I also got view botted at one point too. When that happened, I kind of stopped checking stats really because I knew that the follower count was super skewed and maybe the viewer count was super skewed too due to being botted. But it was nice though. If initially I was upset because getting botted for seemingly no reason sucks, but it definitely it made me enjoy streaming more and focus less on the stats and more on just play the game. Just play whatever game you want.
It's interesting that happened for you. Like I thankfully, knock on wood, have never been botted in any way. But I know that day will probably come eventually, but
I hope it never comes for you because it was weird.
Yeah, at least now
you're always like, did I do something wrong? Like, is this someone that's trying to do something to me or is it random? Because it can totally be random.
Yeah. I like it that at least now for the follow, it's a follow botting happens. Like Commander Root built that tool where you can just go in and input the days and then it'll just clear out the follows that happen during that time. So that if you get follow botted during a particular stream, you can just go to that tool immediately after and just input the day and wipe them all out. View botting is a whole other different situation though. I don't know if there's any way that you can undo that after it's happened.
I'm not sure either. I didn't even know about the Commander Root thing for followers. That's cool.
Yeah, it's really neat. Good bot. Good Twitch bot. Commander Root is. And for you, Lexi, as a variety streamer, like kind of when do you decide to kind of move on to something else? Like I know you've got a giant list of games that are coming on stream. Or do you just really let how you feel influence when you're going to move on from a game?
So I feel lucky to be able to say that majority of the games that I have played, I really enjoy, just because somehow I figured out really quick the stuff that I know I will like. So very rarely have I stopped playing a game if that I like didn't finish. I usually play a game till the end and then I pick a different game. I've gotten really bad recently. I started like 3 games, so they're gonna take me so long to finish at this point. But I really do just try my hardest to play whatever I'm in the mood for, which is why I played Minecraft for 3 months straight early on. And when Animal Crossing came out, I played Animal Crossing for a month and a half straight because that's what I was in the mood for. Because I have streamed on days where I wasn't in the mood, or I tried to play a game that I wasn't in the mood for, and that was earlier on when I was checking stats, and it's very reflected in the stats. Even if you're trying to be yourself, people can tell that you're not feeling it. So
Yeah.
that's why I always try to play a game that I'm super excited for. And I've had days where I just like was not interested in playing anything, and I tried and I ended up like ending stream early or something, because people can always tell, even if you're trying so hard.
Yeah, for sure.
Comes through.
My list, by the way, I always like to mention when I get inspiration elsewhere, my list was inspired by Hampy's Revenge of the Childhood. That's why I made a big list, because I thought it was so cool to like be able to go see a streamer and see all of the games they've already played and the stuff that they're interested in, because that can really help people decide if they're going to vibe with you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll say that you and Hampy, both your lists inspired me. So I just had a Google Doc running, but I didn't have anything with it really. And I ended up moving it into a sheet where I have like multiple tabs now with like, I kind of followed like both of your guys' format of like reviewing the game as well. So like, here's what I've previously streamed and here's what I thought about it. And here's
Hell
how I'd
yeah.
rate it. And yeah, so I made my own thing, but I took inspiration from both of your sheets because yeah, I really like how both are laid out. And then I also kind of added another tab to kind of let people know like this is actually my game library. So I not only use the sheet for people in chat if they're curious, but I also use it for myself because I've got a list in there now of like my whole game library and what platform I have it on, and because there's been times where I've bought a game accidentally that I already owned and I didn't,
Me
and I forgot
too.
that I owned it. So now I've got like this library sheet where I'm just like every
Before you
time I
make
buy
any
a game, I
purchase, you have
go
to
and
go
put it in
look
there.
over it all.
I'm guilty of me and my boyfriend share our Steam libraries with each other, and I've bought so many games that he already had, and he's like, "What the heck? Why did you buy that? You didn't need to."
Yeah, big feels. But yeah, so thank you to both you and Hampy for inspiring me to get a sheet put together.
Thank you, Happy, for inspiring me.
Yeah,
That's what's so great about being on a team, is just sharing ideas and getting ideas from each other. It's so nice to
For
be able to
sure.
like feel like you can make your stream better because you share ideas with people.
yeah. And how do you, I guess, how do you market yourself with your stream relative to game choice play? Like, do you just straight up just be like, hey guys, variety stream here, like,
Yeah,
play
that's
whatever I want?
it. Yes.
What I want,
I've
what I
actually,
want.
I'm a little aggressive about it sometimes. I'll have people come in and be like, "Oh, why aren't you playing this game that you were like playing last time? Or why don't you play this game anymore that you used to play a lot of?" I'm like, "'Cause I don't want to. If you don't want to watch, if you don't like what I'm playing, go away. I don't care. I want to do what I want to do. I also want you to like me for me." That's what's also nice about variety, is like I've seen people grow a whole stream based off of one game, and then maybe eventually they finally get tired of it and they start trying to do variety or something else, and they lose a bunch of their viewers because people only liked the game and they didn't like them. And I feel so lucky to have been able to be variety and grown a stream and a community of people that like me and want to be my friend. And I have so many close friends just by having done that. Something else. What was it? I don't know. If I think about it, I'll let you know. I forgot something else.
All good. Yeah, that transition can be tricky.
Sorry. I remembered. It's nice to have a community that they literally don't care what game I play as long as I'm enjoying it. I've had so many people be like, "I have no interest in this game, but you seem so stoked to be playing it that I'm enjoying watching this."
Mm-hmm.
It's cute.
I'm very much the same way as a viewer. Like the vast majority of streamers that I actively watch, I don't like. Yeah, I watch what they're playing and I care to some extent, but I'm there for them. And if they're playing, like, yeah, if they're playing whatever, it's fine with me. Like, I just love being there, being in chat, engaging. Can be anything from a just chatting stream to a retro game to a new game. For me, it doesn't matter, but I know that not every viewer is like that. There are definitely viewers out there that care about the game.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Anything else to add, Lexi?
Not that I can think of.
Cool.
I shall
Well,
think of
thank
it
you for
later.
sharing your experience.
In like 8 seconds.
What's that?
Nothing. Don't worry about it. Dawn, you said you've been streaming for 4.5 years?
Yes. 5 years in May.
Oh my goodness. Well then
I know.
I guess
should
yours
be
would
better
be the
at this,
best
right?
to like has your stream choice changed? Like that's a long time. Like I'm sure
yeah.
it like has to have changed
Yeah.
to some extent.
I've done everything, I think, at this point. Still average. Still, yeah. I should be better by now, but I've been told that once you hit the 5-year mark, that's when you finally know what you're doing. So I'm just waiting till that point in May, and I'm just going to wake up and be like pro Twitch streamer. So when I started, I gave no thought to the games. I knew nothing about Twitch back then. Hardly watched anything. Didn't even look at stats. I don't think I even knew there was stats. I can't even remember what I first streamed. I did a couple of streams on my PlayStation playing Until Dawn, I think, and maybe Alien Isolation, and then my first proper stream from a PC, I think I played Life is Strange, actually. Was one of the earlier ones. And then I also used to play Heroes of the Storm. So that was my game. I played that like at least 2-3 times a week in my stream, and then the rest of the streams were just like whatever games I wanted to play at the time. I did that for a long time. That was like my normal. I just played whatever, like RPGs, story, anything really, along with Heroes of the Storm. And then I can't remember how long ago it was now, but there was a point where I decided to try and play Heroes only. I started looking at numbers at that point and the growth of the channel, which there was very little. My channel grew extremely slow for the first like 2.5 years. And I lasted for about 6 months of Heroes 6 days a week only.
Oh wow.
And then I uninstalled the game and didn't play it for 2 years. And to this day, I only play it like once a week, maybe for fun.
Yeah,
like,
to be fair, Blizzard's kind of like let that one go.
Yeah.
It seems like.
Yeah, I played ranked as well, so 6 days a week ranked games. I still don't know to this day how I did it. And at the time, I was like, I enjoyed it, and the Heroes community was good. Heroes was doing really well at the time. I had a really good esports like thing going, and I knew all the other streamers, and it was actually like I enjoyed it. But then Heroes like, as the turning point for me was that they started running a lot of like the drops events.
Mm-hmm.
And it would like bump your viewer numbers, obviously, for people waiting to get drops. And a lot of people actually got partnered during those events because of the numbers going up, and mine's didn't go up at all. And I was just like, this isn't working. Like, there's no point in doing this. Like, I can't, my channel's not growing, basically. I'm kind of just stuck. And this game's driving me insane. And then, like, literally just around that time, Blizzard pulled a whole lot of their people off of Heroes. They took away the esports scene. They cut right back on everything in the game, and basically it lost so many of its streamers and player base and everything. And it was just like perfect timing for me to just be like, yeah, I'm done with this. Let's move on. Then, like, after that happened, I can't even remember. It was like a summer or something like that. And then in the January after that, I completely changed my streaming time. I changed jobs and work, and my kid was a bit older. It's scary to think I started streaming when she was 4. So I used to stream it from 7 p.m. because she would go to her bed, but she's now 11 and doesn't go to her bed at 7 o'clock. So like, that's like things just changed. So I basically made a choice, like, I was like, if I'm changing my game and I'm changing everything, I'm going to just make the jump and completely change my time. Hold on a second. Sorry. He's going to start eating his dinner. You're going to hear him. I apologise. So anyway, my viewers know what it's like. So anyway, I just basically made the jump and was like, I'm just going to lose all my viewers. I'm just going to start again, because I went from streaming at 7 p.m. to 9 a.m. And I dropped to, I completely swapped. So I lost like everyone in America basically that watched me, no longer could. And I basically just switched. And that's what I've been doing ever since, basically. And I just basically went full variety at that point and was like, well, I'm not going to have the viewership, so I may as well just play what I want to play. But I do now, like, I do put thought into the games I'm playing still. And I do believe, like, there's still, like, I can't just, if I put on a game, I still don't feel like I'm guaranteed viewership a lot of the time, but that's just me. I mean, I might get there'll be like people that will come in, but I'm still very nervous about completely switching games a lot of the time and expecting that just no one will be there. So yeah, it's just one of those things, like, it's something that ongoing, I think, will always be a thing when you're streaming. Like, well, I feel like for me it will be.
Right.
That it'll always be something where I have to, like, weigh up. If people want to watch this, am I going to enjoy it? And does it have any sort of viewership? And is my channel going to benefit from streaming it? Because at the end of the day, I want my channel to grow and I want my channel to get to a bigger point than it is now. So it doesn't do that if I'm not working at trying to get that done, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
Been a long 4.5 years.
Yeah, that's a long time. That's awesome, though. It's interesting to hear about, like, how you used to be starting off and just how you've kind of changed over time. I always love hearing people's streaming experiences, just where they started, where they are now, and what kind of led them to those changes. So, yeah, I definitely appreciate you sharing. So I assume that you market your stream very much, like, if you've got someone new in, like, because I know for myself personally, like, I've had people come in because they found me in a game category, and I always make sure to, like, broadcast that out, that, like, hey, I don't only just play this game, you know, just to set that expectation of, like, if you're here for this game in particular, it's not always going to be a thing, kind of thing.
Yeah, so I was thinking about, like Lexi, what do you say when people come in and, like, raid or host you? Like, what's your 15 seconds of, like, this is my channel? Because then that's, like, how long you get, right, before someone makes a decision about whether they're going to stay. And I do pretty much just say, like, I'm a variety streamer right now, these are the games I'm playing, like, and I just, like, rhyme off. Usually there's 3 games ongoing. So I'm like, I'm currently playing Auction Not Encoded, Darkest Strand, and Stardew Valley. That's it. And then, like, but my bot does post a thing, like, quite regularly saying, Daunt's currently playing who the hell knows, like, whoever she's decided to play, because, like, I changed my mind a lot, and I love, like, big RPG games, but I'm like, definitely, like, I like to play one and then I just don't play them for ages, and then I like to play one and then I don't play them for ages, and I always feel like if I try and play them one after the other, I just burn out on them super easy. I don't know why that is. So, like, I played Mass Effect 2 and then I planned to play Kingdom Come Deliverance, and I literally got 25-30 hours into Kingdom Come Deliverance and just never turned it back on again. And just, like, changed to the completely different game. So yeah, I do change my mind often, but I am very much like I can enjoy a game, but see if my viewership or like chat interactions like super low, it does affect me, my enjoyment of it. I know it shouldn't, but it does. So like unless I absolutely love the game, like then I don't care. But
Right.
I very rarely like love anything. I'm mostly just like, this is fine. I like this, you know.
An
So
average opinion of a game.
I am extremely like I like having chat there. Like I'm there to hang out with people. I'm very like talkative, and I like to talk to everybody when I'm doing it. So if that's not there for me during streaming, that's a big part of what makes it enjoyable for me. So the game's like extra, and yes, I need to like the game as well. But I need like the channel to be doing well during that game as well. It just is what it is.
Just chatting stream with a little bit of gameplay sprinkled in.
And I do like sometimes like I'd play games that like create like need focus and stuff, like Auction not included. Like I sat today just like this for like 20 minutes trying to work out what to do. But like the whole time like chat's talking to me and like helping me and stuff, and that's what makes it enjoyable for me, like having chat there like helping me out, or like because I don't mind people, like I quite like people giving me, you know, we all know my tip rule. I like people giving me tips and helping. So like I like all of that interaction coming in, and if that's not there, I do start to like come down a little bit from it. So yeah.
For those that don't know Dawn's tip rule, it's just the tip but not the whole dick.
Good
Yeah,
rule.
that's it.
It's a good rule.
It's a great rule. It's the best analogy ever.
It is the most used command in the channel because it pops up the clip of me saying it.
Tip, 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 tip,
Yeah.
tip, tip.
Yep.
No, after that, that's the whole dick.
Yeah.
I love it too. Anything else to add, Dawn? That was great.
Yeah, not really. That's pretty much my experience.
Well, I'm sure as we keep talking, we'll end up all just kind of throwing in after this. But Joe, do you or I want to go next?
I can go next.
Okay.
I don't know. I've been streaming 2.5 years, and I don't think the way I've approached it has changed. Okay, so first year I started streaming, I remember the first game I streamed. It was Final Fantasy 14. That's before I got a green screen or I got a nicer camera or lights or anything. It was literally just to see if I enjoyed streaming at all, and I did. I primarily I picked an MMO because MMOs are a thing of where I feel like for most people to watch, MMOs are incredibly boring, but to people that play the MMO and watch it, it can be entertaining. I feel like MMOs, you really got to know what's going on to like get what's going on. And so I was like, I feel like if I could sit here and I can talk for like 6 to 8 hours playing Final Fantasy 14 and like make sure there's no dead air. That was my goal when I streamed it for like a week, and that was it. But I just wanted to make sure there was no dead air, and I didn't expect that people would come in and like I didn't expect anybody would come in and to watch the stream. And so I did that, and I thought, okay, I gotten better at this, and so I liked it enough to where I ended up dumping the money on all the streaming gear, the mic, the everything like that. And then I moved in. I kind of just started moving into. I just started playing games that I had missed because I am a recovering. I've relapsed recently, but I play World of Warcraft a lot. Oh no, Lexi's lost. Oh, never mind. There goes. I think my net is chunking out here.
Did they me?
Oh,
Can you hear now?
We have robots.
we've got the robos going.
You know what? Technical difficulties were an eventuality. I'm shocked that we've gone 3 streams with no issues.
Yeah.
I was worried about this. My internet's been a little not awesome,
Oh, no worries. It's all
but
good.
it'll come back out.
Yeah. Okay. I just noticed at first I didn't know if it was my, because like it almost seemed like nobody was moving, and so I thought that maybe the net had just died, period. But so I was recovering from playing WoW, and I played WoW from like 2006 2005 ish until like 2013 2014. It was like the main game that I was playing. I was just always playing that. I didn't play anything else really, and so I just had this like giant catalog of things like I'll get to that one day, and I just never did. And so I used streaming as a way to I don't know, like it was kind of like my excuse to play these games that I had always wanted to play. And so I started going through like The Witcher, or I've like picked up Elder Scrolls because of it, or I've and I picked up essentially like all these like long standing RPGs. BioShock was one of them as well, a series that I'd always thought about getting to, but I just never did. And I loved it like my first year, because I started streaming in like February, and so like that whole first year of streaming was just me picking up franchises that I'd always wanted to get to, and people had talked about ad nauseum, and I've heard it forever. I just never played them, and I loved it. But I did notice that in terms of like, because I did look at stats early on, but I never had expectations for myself to get big anyway. So it never really bothered me. But I did notice, like after I'd been streaming for a year, that like I had huge peaks and valleys depending upon what game I played. And so like BioShock being very popular, like those games brought in a lot of people to watch, as to where then I would switch to, I can't think of like an example, versus I guess like, God of War. I played God of War near its release, but that number was pretty low, but that's because I was also playing it around a time when like a lot of people were playing God of War. And so like I noticed all these like giant disparities, and I then moving into the second year, I had made the choice to try and do longer, like, so I wasn't trying to like stick to one game, but I tried to play games within a series. And so it started with Kingdom Hearts, because it was leading up to Kingdom Hearts 3's release, and I played the entire series leading up to the release.
Those are long too, aren't they?
They're very long. It's a lot of games. But I played that, and it took like 2 months, I think, to get through like all of the games, leading up to Kingdom Hearts 3, of which I then played for like another 2 or 3 weeks. And I noticed that like, game after game, I would see people coming in, but then like I ran into the problem of like, all right, well, this is a series of games, but like they're still like, it's going to end. And when I got to Kingdom Hearts 3 and beat that, and I pivoted to another game, I like a lot of those people that I saw coming through consistently for the Kingdom Hearts streams, like they were there for Kingdom Hearts, And the second I switched, I'd have them at first. I had them coming in to say hello, but then I kept playing this new game. Eventually, they just kind of like fell away. And so
It's always a bummer.
Then I tried to make like I don't know, like last year. Yeah, last year. Oh my God, this year's almost over already. Holy crap.
I know.
But yeah, at the start in like February of last year, I made the choice to try and stick to a genre type. And so because the Souls games are so popular, and I'd always been interested in them, and I thought that there had to be more to those games than just hard bosses and dying. Like there had to be, because that's all I ever heard people talk about with those games. But I was like, there has to be something more that keeps people here, because there's no way you're just staying with a game that kills you over and over again for no reason. And so I decided to take those on, and it took me I played like Souls-like games for the whole year. I think I played almost every one that's like of note. I played all of FromSoft's ones. I played Neo. I played Jedi Fallen Order, and Sekiro. And I noticed that with those games, it was like, I honestly thought that I would hold on to more people, just because it was like the same type of game. But what I found is that people had their favorites within that series, and then there was like very big peaks and valleys between who liked what. So like Dark Souls 1 is like the biggest one. People for some reason love watching people play Dark Souls 1, especially, and then particularly they love hinting that something bad is going to happen to you very soon when the big
That's
bad
so
things.
annoying.
I know it is. It's terrible. I try to get people to stop, but they're like, I didn't tell you what it was. I'm like, yeah, but you kind of did.
Yeah.
I
You
want to
set
be
the expectation.
surprised.
Yeah, they set the expectation. If anybody's been in a Souls stream or streamed a Souls game, you know, there's always those in chat that want to ruin the experience.
Yeah.
But even then, like, I got to the end of last year, and after trying trying to stick to a genre and like blowing through like literally as far as I could tell the whole catalog of that genre, I still like, and who knows, maybe it's the caliber of the stream or whatnot, but like it just seemed like there's no rhyme or reason to how to maintain viewership, right? Because I tried sticking within a couple of series, and then at that point I tried switching to genre, and that still didn't change anything. And so this past year, as of recently, I've been pretty flaky because I've had to like get a new job, and between that and school, like everything's just been really stressful. And the rest of the world this year. But this year I've just made it a point of I've gotten to that point of just streaming what I know I'm going to enjoy the most, and I feel like that naturally pulls people in to keep them around, just if they see that you're really enjoying. Because like I did enjoy all the games I played, but now that if I'm really like, because I would have days where I just wasn't feeling like, I wasn't feeling like playing Dark Souls that day, but I was already in it and I would like committed to it, like I would throw it up anyway. And now, and like I was afraid to like drop it, but now if I'm like not enjoying a game, like recently I swear I've started playing like 5 games, and I'll play it for like 2 or 3 streams, and then it just hits a point where I'm like, not today, and then I just drop it forever seemingly.
Oh,
But I've been enjoying I've stopped worrying about growing my stream, like actively, like constantly worrying about growing the stream, and more so approaching it as a hobby for myself, like as a more of like a form of like creative expression, is how
takes a lot of the pressure off.
Yeah, it does. And it's made streaming a lot more enjoyable for me. So like I don't stream as much, but like when I do stream, like I find myself having a lot more fun and coming away from it feeling a lot more uplifted after a stream, rather than like the second I close the stream down, immediately thinking, was there like how many people were in the chat, how many people were talking, like going and looking at the numbers, like we're like noticing where the lulls were during the day and stuff like that. And it's really taken a lot of like stress off of me, like this year, to just kind of play whatever I'm vibing with at the time. But I don't think I got much more to say.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing. It's interesting to kind of hear your experience with game choice and how that's affected your stream. And it's funny how, I mean, we're all variety streamers here at the end of the day, which definitely I feel like most streamers on Twitch are variety streamers, but we all end up kind of, I think, fiddling here and there with either a specific genre or maybe a specific franchise or game. But I feel like variety is probably the best, because then it just sets yourself up well so that if you do get burnt out on a particular game or genre, you have the freedom to, I mean, everyone technically has the freedom to play whatever they want, but I feel like just with setting yourself up as that variety streamer, you just have that more.
It's nice to just like set that precedent from the beginning instead of just suddenly going from one game to whatever you want, because it definitely can drive people away.
For sure. All right, I'll talk about myself then. Kind of similar to Lexi in that I'm a newer gamer. I gamed as a kid with like a Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1, some Xbox games, but it was kind of like the Mario games, and then Crash Bandicoot, Driver 2. I did Tony Hawk's Pro Skater for a long time, and then things like Guitar
Isn't that the, like,
Hero.
super glitchy game?
Back then, I don't know. I just remember back then my brother and I loved that game, and we always tried to get like the longest, biggest combos ever. And anytime I hear a song, like anytime I hear AC/DC TNT, my brain associates that song with that game. Well, one of the Pro Skater games. I can't remember which one it was exactly, but literally every time I hear that song, I'm just like, I just think Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Oh yeah, they had good. Yeah, they had good song lists on those games.
Yeah, super good. Anyway, so the last games that I had played as a kid were like the Guitar Hero Rock Band kind of games. And then as I turned like 15, my brother kept gaming, and I was just like, I'm not interested anymore. And I didn't pick up a game again until I was 20. I would have been 27. I was big on watching YouTubers back then. I still try and watch people on YouTube, but I somehow came across James Turner, who his main channel, he does Sims 4 content, or just Sims content in general, but he has another channel where he plays other games. And I went to that other channel and I saw him playing Cities Skylines, and I started like looking at this game, and oh my gosh, I wanted to play it because it reminded me so much of Roller Coaster Tycoon, just in the freedom to build.
Love Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Me too. Anyway, so thanks to James Turner for getting me to really want to play Cities Skylines. So I got a gaming PC, because at that time I had an iMac that would not have been able to handle that game at all. So I got a gaming PC, downloaded Cities Skylines, and that was literally the only game I ever wanted to play. And streaming was not even something in my brain at that point. And then a friend of mine started streaming, and he was like, hey, come hang out and watch. And so I did. And then as I was watching him, I'm just like, this seems like fun. Like maybe I should do this with Cities. But then I thought about how I play that game, and I just did not. I went to the Cities Skylines category on Twitch, and I started watching streamers with that game. And they were, I don't know, they all seemed so good to me. And I was just like, I'm not really good at this game. And I also build very slowly, and I don't think I can make this game entertaining. And then my brain was kind of just like, maybe Twitch will force me to start playing some other different games. And I started looking into role-playing games. Because I'm a big, like, I like watching movies and I like reading books. And so like big story role-playing games is something that I figured that I would like. So my stream is still what it always has been from day one, in that I'm a variety streamer, but I'm streaming first playthroughs, and I'm streaming first playthroughs of primarily single player RPGs. And I've deviated a little bit from that. So like I've played games that haven't really fallen into that category, but for the most part, like that's kind of what I've branded my channel around, is like most of what I'm playing are first playthroughs. And so if you want to see like someone reacting to a game for the first time, like that's primarily what my channel is. And I haven't been streaming very long, so I've only been streaming for just over a year, and the games that I've played have been really long. So I actually haven't played that many games on stream yet. And my list is ever growing and massive of what's coming in the future. So I'm going to probably end up streaming until I'm in my 50s, but
the gamer backlog.
Okay.
It never goes
That's
away.
what's terrible about being like a baby gamer, is so many of these other games that people have already enjoyed, you're like, you have so much more to like catch up on.
Yeah. So but where I've seen my channel growth like really happen from was the BioWare games that I've played. So the game that I first streamed was The Council, which I don't know, based on the reviews and the description of the game, I figured that would be like a good first one for me to start. It had awful puzzles in it, and I'm not a puzzle fan. And games since then have proven to me that I'm not a fan of puzzles, but I'll deal with them if I have to. But yeah, I streamed that, and then I streamed Firewatch, and I streamed Heavy Rain, and but then I got into Dragon Age Inquisition, and that game went from October to March on my channel, streaming 1 to 2 days a week. Big game, but had me absolutely fall in love with that franchise, and I'm still working my way through Origins now, and then Dragon Age 2 is coming. And then from there, I already knew that the Mass Effect series was going to be on my radar, and I've played through part of 1 because I had glitchy issues, and then I played all of Mass Effect 2, and Mass Effect 3 is now coming soon, and then Fallout New Vegas was 1. So like, the nice thing about streaming these big games that are older, like all of like Dragon Age Origins, Mass Effect 1 and 2, and Fallout New Vegas are all from like 9-10 years ago, 11 years ago or more. And the thing with these games is like when you go to the categories on Twitch, there's not a whole lot of people streaming them, but they have such a big fan base that that's done really well for me. And you know, yes, I obviously like it's been me as well as like the streamer that's attributed to that. But I also think like I've had so many people find me through game categories because of the game that I'm playing for all of the games that I've played. So I didn't know that would happen, but when that first started happening with Dragon Age Inquisition, and then I moved on to Fallout New Vegas and had that same thing where people were coming in because they saw my first playthrough tag, or they saw, I think I would make it very clear in my stream title that it was a first playthrough. Mm-hmm. You know, I always highlighted that really well because yeah, you'd get people coming in that, and I had some backseating issues with Fallout New Vegas, especially, but for the most part, chat was well behaved and they let me experience things completely blind, and it's been really fun to do. And then because I've branded my channel around that, like, you know, people ask like, oh, well, what about this game? Like, do you plan on playing this eventually, or do you plan on playing this? And so I've got quite a list of games coming. So currently I'm playing Dragon Age Origins first playthrough, and then a second playthrough of Inquisition. The nice thing about these big RPG games too is there's so many different ways to play them that you can technically have another kind of first playthrough experience, even if it's your second or third playthrough of the game. So you know, as much as I wanted to stick to a first playthrough of a game and then it's done and I don't ever bring it back, that's actually not going to happen. I know now that there's these big games that I do want to do that I want to do on the channel.
It's okay
in the future and bring it back. But yeah, I don't. It's hard. Like there has been, for the most part, I haven't cared to like. I'm very data oriented, and I do love poring over my analytics, and I love seeing the numbers and doing all of that. I don't let like the games that I play, like, you know, I've got my list and I've got my set plan, and I'm going to stick to that. There was one game recently though that was very interesting for me. So Spiritfarer, that came out and there was this big hype around it, and a bunch of people played it, and I was one of those. I went into the game. It was brand new. That was the first time I'd ever played a brand new game on my stream. Like I played it, I think I streamed it literally the day after it came out. And Spiritfarer was interesting. I have never had, like, I had so many people in my community buy the game because I was playing it. Like they came in, they checked it out, they went, wow, this game's awesome, I'm going to get it. Like I have community members that bought it for the Switch and bought it for the PC. And it's funny that happened, but yet Spiritfarer was the lowest numbers I've ever experienced on my stream ever. Like,
that's weird.
Just relatively speaking to the other games that I was playing at the time. And, you know, personally, I did reach a bit of burnout with the game after about 20 hours. I still want to finish the game because I know that there is an end to it. But I don't want to bring it back to my stream for that reason, because like, as much as I did enjoy playing it, you know, I did kind of let the numbers affect me in that way. But at the same time, I also found it was a weird game. Like it was entertaining right away. And then I think after like the 15-hour mark, I found it really hard to entertain while I was doing it, because it is a super chill game, like very, very chill. I would rather play a game like Stardew Valley over and over on stream again, because I find I can at least make that somewhat more entertaining. But yeah, so um, that was like the only time that really happened for me where I actually kind of dropped a game because it wasn't doing super well. But I think in a way I feel kind of lucky in that my stream for the next foreseeable future, like 1-2 years down the road, is going to be a lot of these big games that have, like, maybe not necessarily a packed category, but have a good fan base of people that like to watch the game. Like BioWare games are so good for that. The BioWare crew, the BioWare fans, they love watching people play BioWare games for the first time. Like Dragon Age and Mass Effect have been very, very good for me and my stream. And I love the games so much that I don't actually want to drop them permanently. Like I'm willing to kind of, down the road, I know that my stream is not going to be solely 100% first playthroughs the way that I've been kind of marketing it up to this point. Like I know that that's going to shift and change down the road, but I think that's another reason why I made that game spreadsheet taking after Lexi and Happy, is that, you know, people have asked me in the chat like, oh, what are you going to play after this? And I go, well, here you go, because I actually have, like, I've got 3 set games that are 100% sure next on the list, and I have them in order like this. These are the next 2 games, and then after those 2 games are done, this is what's coming after that, and I've got that kind of set in stone and planned. And then I still have the list of like to stream eventually, but in no particular order. And I've got it listed in chronological order of like, these are the games that are coming one day. And I don't know what order it'll be in or what game it will be, but it'll be streamed eventually. And I like that too, because I think that's another way to market yourself, because if you have a new viewer coming in that likes the game you're playing right now, you kind of want to set yourself up to them with this kind of expectation of like, here's what's coming in the future. So kind of like this, like, you know, stick around, like hang out a while, because we are going to get to this, you know,
Stay
one game that
tuned.
you like, right? It might be 2 years from now, but we'll get to it eventually, right?
It's also kind of nice to have a list so that you don't forget about a game, because I completely forgot games exist sometimes.
Yeah. The other thing that I've also found very interesting with just the way that my stream has gone is that I've had viewers that are so into Dragon Age that is truly all they want to watch. So it was really interesting when I finished Dragon Age Inquisition after the 120 hours that I streamed that, and I was moving on to, like, I still had Fallout New Vegas going, and then I moved on to Mass Effect. Like I noticed that a handful of people like just didn't come around, and then as soon as I picked up Dragon Age Origins, boom, like day one, they're like, hey KL, and I'm just like, hey, welcome back, good to see you. And you know, you're gonna have viewers like that are very much for the game and the game only, but for the most part, I feel like my community, they understand what I'm doing and where I'm going in the future and the things that I have planned, and that's why ultimately at the end of the day, like, I'm always going to be a variety streamer, is because I do want people in my stream for like me and hanging out with me, and not just for the game, because I'm not good at games at all. I'm really not. And yeah, I just want to have that kind of like living room feel where it's like I'm playing the game and you guys are just like hanging out and chatting with me. And
yeah, like that the best friend on the couch thing, so to speak, right?
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, but otherwise, like, I was just thinking, you know, game choice, like deciding what to add to my list. I've had a lot of people ask me if I'm ever going to play X game. I always said I would never play a horror game, and then I ended up playing a horror game. But I've had people ask about specific games, and kind of for me, what I look for in a game for the stream is like, I really do like the RPG aspect, and that's a lot of what is coming on the stream and what I've done so far and what's going to be on stream. But for me, I guess, like, I'll look at a game and I'll read the description of it. I'll look at kind of the mechanics of the game. I will read reviews and just kind of see what people are saying about the game. I do know that there are certain categories of games that I will never stream, the Souls games being one of them. I don't know. I get why people like them, but for me, I already know that I wouldn't enjoy myself. I get frustrated enough as it is when games are on casual mode and I'm struggling. And I just feel like Souls games for me would, one, piss me off to the point where I just get so frustrated that I that I just want to eat it. And I know that that is part of the experience with those types of games anyway, but I don't know. I feel like if you know you're not going to have fun playing a certain genre of game or a certain game itself, like, you know, I like to say I'll try anything once, but at the same time, it's
I mean, you know what
so.
you'll like, and if it's something that you probably won't enjoy, don't bother.
Yeah, it is interesting though. Like with Fallout New Vegas specifically, like I went in, and after 2 streams or 3 streams of that game, I honestly thought I was going to end up dropping it, and it was going to break my heart to do that because I really want to finish every game I start, especially when it's a big story game like that, right? Like I don't want to leave it alone. And I genuinely thought I wasn't going to like that game because at the very beginning, I felt myself not 100% enjoying it. And then funny enough, just as I got more comfortable with the mechanics of it, then I ended up loving it. And now I want to play more Fallout games as a result, which will happen eventually. But yeah, so far I feel like I've done well sticking to the variety first playthrough RPG. I don't know what's coming in the future. I obviously still want to grow and I would love to be partnered one day. And I would love to have this be like a thing where I can have some consistent, reliable, like part-time income, if that makes sense. A full-time thing is I don't know if that's ever going to be doable. I feel like that's more going to be a luck thing than anything, but
that's always
like
the
it would
hope,
be,
but not the goal.
Yeah.
right. Yeah, agreed. But I don't know. I'm kind of treating Twitch as like a nice little like part-time hobby business, I guess.
Part-time business.
The same way that I did pyrography as like a little hobby business, because that was what I've done pyrography streams before. So for those of you that don't know, it's like wood burning, where I've got like a machine that has these metal tools that that are all different shapes and stuff that you can burn into wood. I do lettering, but you can.
That's really cool.
People would burn like whole landscape scenes and like animals and portraits and all kinds of stuff. I stick with like lettering and quotes and things. But pyrography was my like hobby before I found streaming. And I was like set up at the market here in my town, like for the summer markets, and I'd go to Christmas markets and I do all of this stuff. And I put like so much energy into that. Like I feel like, and I feel a little bit sad because I would still like to put energy into that, but now with streaming, like I'm putting so much of my focus on streaming that pyrography takes a long time to do. Like it's not a quick thing. And I just don't really have the time anymore to focus as much on that. But what I'm getting at is like, I'm treating Twitch the same as I treated that, where it's just like, if I make a little bit of money from this, cool. It's nice to get a little bit of something from
it's just
doing
a bonus.
something that I enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, basically making it so that I don't have to go get like a IRL part-time thing if needed, so
it's also nice to know that like if you lose your regular job or something, you'll never be completely without an income.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a nice kind of little, it is comforting. Yeah, just like a nice little safety net. And also too, like not even just monetarily, but like a safety net of people, like a community that
support group
supports you and you can talk to every day and just is there for you. Like that's a huge benefit of Twitch, to be honest. Like I've told my whole family, like honestly, without Twitch this year, like I don't know what I would have done during this whole COVID thing. Like Twitch,
you're used
and
to not
Discord.
seeing your online friends, so that didn't change.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The one consistent.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's pretty much my journey with game choice for me. I guess I'd kind of like, as much as I consider myself variety, I feel like genre speaking, like, it's like variety streaming, but primarily that whole RPG category, single player RPG. And yeah, I think it helps I think now with this, like we can segue into the topic of pros and cons of like, single franchise, single game versus single genre versus 100% variety. Because if I look at the Nook Twitch team, for example, like our team, nobody on our team streams a single franchise. We're all either like single genre or variety streamers.
Same more. Yeah, it seems to be mostly variety, honestly. I can't think of anybody that
Yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe like there's like a vibe or a style to it.
Yeah, like I mean, well, even though they've deviated from this at times, like I would say like so Hampy, Fraz, and Jimbles all fall into that like retro category, right? For the most part.
Yeah.
I know that here and there they've played other things, like Fraz has his Sea of Thieves streams once in a while, which are very entertaining. And then like Hampy was playing The Last of Us 2 when that came out, right? So I mean they do deviate here and there from that, but you know, those are three people that have definitely built their streams around the whole like retro, like definitely retro games. And honestly, it works for all three of them very well. And kind of just like what was I going to say? My thought completely just left my brain.
I hate when
Sorry.
that happens. Try not to think about it and then it'll come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
No.
true. Glorious Badger does do single game or single type stream.
Single category.
Single category, yeah. I think he's the only one.
Right, with like the art.
Does the
Oh,
painting
yeah,
streams,
yeah.
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 Right.
I think that's it.
Yep, good point. Yeah, I think he's the only one then that sticks to one category. I mean, technically the retro games, depending on how old they are, you're ending up streaming just in that retro category, right? Where
It's funny
just,
though,
like,
because retro
all-encompassing.
yeah, still be so
Yeah,
diverse.
retro is
For
pretty
sure.
broad at
Yeah.
this point.
Yeah, it's definitely still variety. I'm not insinuating that it's not.
But it
considered
is
variety, but
also a category of its own
for sure.
because retro games have such a distinct look to them because they're older.
Yes.
Graphics have come such a far way. It's been so interesting to see.
It's so funny because I say all the time, like those are games that I guess depending on the retroness of them, but for me specifically, like playing retro games is not something that I'm super interested in doing. And I think it really is the graphics that I just can't get over. Unfortunately.
The only reason that I've had an interest in retro games is because I'm so inexperienced with games, period, that there are newer games from series that have been coming out that I'm interested in, but I want to have the experience in order because as an artist, I really like to see how things develop.
Mm-hmm.
So I played the first Zelda game like a month or so ago, maybe, and I'm going to move on to Zelda 2 and try to play them as in order as I can. Nobody warned me about Zelda 2. I've had so many warnings about Zelda 2. I'm not ready, but I want to try to play it because I want that experience of like some people love it, some people hate it, and it's so cool to see how things develop. Like I played a little bit of I think it's Link's Awakening for the Switch that just got like remade.
Yeah.
And then when I played like Zelda 1, it was so cool to see how like wow, the dungeons are still like really similar, but so much more like developed with the graphics. It's so weird to see them like with such different graphics, but the same concept.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say my favorite my favorite era of games is the PS3 360 era, where every game seemed to think that good graphics was putting a brown color palette over lots and lots of bloom. Like honestly, go and look at anything that was popular during the PS3 360 era. It was just brown color tones and really blurry everything. And they're like, yeah, that's good. That's what looks good. It was a terrible time.
Oh, I don't like that. I never played any, like, I'm not a console gamer aside from Nintendo consoles. So I've never seen any of that.
It really was. It was a time. That whole era. Every game like looked samey. It was, God. I'm so
I'm
glad
sure
I
I
moved
love
away from it.
One thing I love about gaming is just how like you know, if we go back to the 2000s, like I still remember playing certain games and thinking like, wow, this game looks so good and so realistic. And then like, you know, just fast forward to today where games just keep getting more and more and more realistic looking. And then you go back and look at those old games that you think looked so good back in the day,
Oh
and
my
you're just
God.
like, oh my
Like-
God. Like,
what is this?
I remember when the Harry Potter games came out on PC, like the OG, like
love
Harry
those.
Potter and the Philosopher's Stone and the Chamber of Secrets, like those games. Like kid me thought, oh my God, this is amazing. This looks so great. And then of course now you look back at those and I think
You go back and see their polygonal face.
isn't PS1 Hagrid like a meme or something just with how he, I don't know
Yeah.
how he looks, but yeah.
Yeah,
and
I
then
can remember
it was-
when the original Final Fantasy VII, like the cutscenes and like the super blocky nature of the characters during the PS1 like cutscenes. I remember thinking that was like like a big deal, which it was, I guess. But like I remember like it blowing my mind as a kid. And then you go back and watch it now, and it's like, what did I see in this?
Like a game. So with Twitch, my mom and stepdad have taken interest in this whole hobby of mine, and they're very much like my parents were not ever gamers,
Same.
really at all. Like my dad played a handful here and there, but they were on PC, and I think we're really just racing games. But I showed when I was visiting my mom and stepdad, I went on YouTube and I pulled up like a short playthrough of a section in The Last of Us 2. And I was just like, I just wanted to show them like how far games have come. And honestly, for me watching The Last of Us 2, like I felt like I was watching a movie. Like I just couldn't believe how the attention to detail for some things and like just how it looked and the audio and the sounds, like it's a wonderful game. And I just showed them like, this is what games can be nowadays.
Yeah, and it's about to take
they were
another
just
leap
like,
with the new generation of consoles and video cards.
Yeah.
And like, man, some of the games are like, like it pretty soon it's going to get to the point where you're not going to be able to distinguish reality from.
Oh, that's gonna stress me out because I already have like existential crises of like, do we live in a simulation?
Just wait
That's
till
gonna make
Naughty
it so
Dog.
much worse.
Just wait till Naughty Dog makes a
hate
game in
it.
those engines. You're just gonna fall apart. Or who makes Heavy Rain and like Detroit and all that?
oh, I
man.
can't remember the name of the.
Is that Crystal Dynamics? No, maybe. I don't know the studio. Anyway, those games are already like, they're just like interactive movies. And I feel like once it hits the point where like the games just look that real, I'm gonna feel like it, like the choices you make in the game are gonna feel even worse because everything's gonna feel so like you're really ruining
Affecting people's lives. Like, KL, I'll have to send you, any of you, a video that Dylan, my boyfriend, shared with me the other day. It's like a history of video game graphics starting from like the first game ever created, and it was like a trial game from a college that nobody ever actually played. This guy did his research, and it's so cool to see.
Yeah, you should definitely share that. That would be awesome. I'd love to watch. I love watching videos about anything where it's like how it was and how it's like come to be. That sounds interesting. I definitely want to watch that.
Because I love to see like the growth, and especially things that were like pinpointed as a problem and how it got fixed.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool to see.
Yeah, there's a few studios out there that do really, really well with realistic games. What's that game that a lot of people are playing right now? It's like the Man of Medan, Until Dawn. It's Little Hope. Is that
Something Hope, yeah.
Yeah.
The dark anthology or whatever the hell they're calling it.
I've caught a bit of some people playing that game, and
Little Hope, yeah.
yeah, and those games are really good looking games as well. Very realistic. And I love that they create the characters look like based on the actor that plays them. Like I remember watching Until Dawn for the first time, and I was just like, is that Hayden?
It's
Yeah.
so interesting to see.
And
It's gotta be
that's
very
Rami,
flattering.
It's Rami Malek. Okay, awesome. It's kind of cool though, because I don't know, that almost kind of hooked me in, like seeing recognizable faces.
Yeah. It's
and same
like
thing-
worlds colliding because like the video game, like the realm or whatever that the video game takes place in, you can kind of imagine that it's like in our world too, because you see a face that you recognize from our world.
It's only gonna get the lines will continue to blur.
It's only gonna get worse. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Did we want to move
Let's-
to the? I guess we kind of already touched on it, but did we want to expand upon like game choice of like your franchise versus your genre versus your variety?
Yeah, like pros and cons, kind of. I mean, we've kind of touched on it here and there, like, you know,
As everyone talked about their growth of
Mhm.
like how they chose games from start to current.
yeah, like, I mean, there's always going to be pros and cons to everything. Like, you know, even with variety, I mean, the pros are obviously, you know, less stress on the streamer in terms of game choice. You know, kind of setting that expectation with the community, like a community I feel can be pretty strong on variety. But I mean, we kind of already touched on the cons of variety streaming in that, you know, you could draw in people that really like a particular game, and then as soon as you're off of it, they're gone, right? So you're going to have those peaks
Yeah.
and valleys with variety streaming. Whereas I think for someone that sticks with a single franchise, they're going to have more consistent numbers for sure. So that's definitely a pro. And then
Yeah, your growth is,
you know,
seems like it's much more linear with when you stick with like a single, especially a
Yeah.
single game.
yeah, and then to like the joke of like, oh, get partner or play Dark Souls to get partnered, easy peasy,
And then do whatever you want.
yeah. But you know, so that's a good pro for that, is just like consistency and like probably an easy ability to grow. Like I know a Dark Souls streamer that got partnered ridiculously fast, just kind of blew up in that category and did really well, and you know, good on them for that. But then, you know, just I think the more obvious con with that is just streamer burnout, right? Like
Just
The minute you
the
leave the
burnout's
category.
over and over
worst.
and over again.
Yeah.
I
The
don't know
minute you
how
want to play
people can do
something
it.
else.
I don't know how people do it either, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
for me, like playing 100+ hour RPG, like kind of, you know, getting towards the end, I'm kind of like, okay, I'm ready to move on and try something different.
Mhm.
I get such a
Get on
weird
something
itch with games that I know have an end. With games like Animal Crossing or Sims or Stardew Valley that you can play as much of as you want, I tend to get less tired of them for some
Mhm.
reason. But when there's a game that has a definitive end conclusion, I start to like, I'm quicker to get bored for some reason because I'm like, oh, I just want to know what happens. I just want to like get to the end.
You want to
I
get
don't know
past all the
why.
filler. Like there's so
Yeah.
much filler in those games, right? That it's like, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I prefer games that have a clear path. I don't like open world games with a bunch of side quests that are like, do whatever you want. It's like, no, I know there's an end to this game, so I just want to follow the
Right.
main line.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't like Hollow Knight, sadly, because it just felt so aimless. But that's kind of the point. Just kind of wander around, figure it out, maybe find a map.
Yeah. Of course, the RPG games that I play are definitely like that, where it's like you've got like your clear story, but there's all these other things to do. And honestly, like at least with the games I've played, a lot of the side quests, some of them are really boring, and there's like no, I don't want to go find your lost goat. Like, I'm sorry, you know, like
Yeah.
The poor
We got a
goat,
side
like,
quest in
forever
games.
gone.
like I'm starting to get over that. But if there's a really good side quest, like I'm a big fan of companion quests in RPG games, because yeah, they're completely optional, but they do affect the overall story, and it's just interesting content to me. And there's some side quests that are done very well. But yeah, if there's like too much, or you know, like a Inquisition is just that
I don't know.
world is so
I
big.
feel like open world games have
Um,
like fallen into this thing of where like I guess like just pretty much anything that has the tag RPG for like the game, like they fall into this thing of where it's like no longer like side quests don't feel like side quests, they feel like chores. Like, it's like you're doing somebody
Yeah.
else's chores. They're like, hey, we're gonna call it a quest so you feel better about it, but can you go and pick all these weeds in my
I
yard?
feel better.
But
That's actually like why I get so stressed about like games with side quests and stuff. I get so anxious because I get so overwhelmed. I'm like, I have too much stuff to do. And I can't do it. I just want like one path, please. It will relieve
like,
so
I feel like
much
if you're gonna do a
panic.
side quest, like it should, you know, it should
That's why I
play
really
part in like
enjoyed-
the big grand story, or it should be that it should be a fucking quest, right? It should be a quest.
I hate side quests that like lead to other side quests, because it's like, okay, go do this thing and then you're done, and it's like, okay, go do this other thing, and it's like, I was just over there. You couldn't have told me to do that before so I could do it on the way. Like, excuse you.
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
Yeah, I'm waiting for. I hope the RPG genre, which it's changed a lot this generation. Now that we're going to a new generation, I hope they fix that, because that's getting old. I don't think we can classify, you know, rounding up your 3 pigs as a quest.
One thing I did like about a game like The Last of Us, as an example, is that there was a very clear, definitive linear path, but I like that they allowed you, especially in the last one, I like that they allowed you to go off the beaten path and like explore, and like from doing that you would find like notes that people had written. So it's not side quests per se, but you just like, there's little side stories, I guess I would call them, right? So like you're still always on the path that you need to be on, but you've got this like added additional content. I think that they do that very well. And it'd be nice if more games did that. And like one thing that I liked about Heavy Rain was like it was still a role-playing game in the sense that like, you know, you make decisions and there's outcomes for it, but I feel like Heavy Rain was a very clear, like you have to go the certain way.
Yeah.
And you can't not go the certain way.
You gotta follow the story eventually.
See that I am sorry.
No,
I kind of this is where I struggle with like linear games. I'm very bad at starting them and never finishing, because I get really paranoid that it's going to get too difficult and I'm going to just be stuck at this one point and there's no other way to go. Whereas with open world games, if I ever got stuck at a quest, I can just ignore it for the next 5 hours and go do other stuff and level up and then come back and just be like, I'm fine now. And it's funny because I was talking about this when I played God of War. And every time I played the game, I enjoyed it. But then every time I thought about playing it again, it would actually make me like really anxious about playing it, because I would get really worried that it was going to get too difficult. And everyone was pointing out that like linear games are probably better at preparing you because they are linear, like so you're automatically leveling at the right level for it, whereas like open worlds is so easy to walk into things that are like way above. I was like, yeah, but I know that if I walk into something in open world I can walk away from it and I'm not just stuck in that room like till I finish that fight. Like I can just go, no, I don't want to do this yet, I'll just come back and then I go do something else. So like I never finished God of War. I've finished very few linear games. The BioShock series, I finished those, but those were incredible. But yeah, I was still saying like linear games I'm very bad at starting and I get so many hours in and I'm just like, no, I just don't ever want to pick this up again.
I like that go ahead.
I've gotten very comfortable with following walkthroughs for like, even if it's a linear game, if I end up getting stuck, I don't want to like, I used to be so determined to figure it out myself. I don't know why. I stressed myself out, and that's why I would drop so many games, because sometimes I just couldn't figure it out. So I was like, well, guess I'm never playing this again. But now I'm more willing to go look up a walkthrough if I'm stuck for like 5 or 10 minutes, because it's like, okay, I want to continue. I want to finish this game and see where it goes. And that was a nice change that I was able to make finally.
I have definitely YouTubed certain puzzles in games because I'll attempt it and like I have to do it, like I have to complete it. But if I
never feel bad about it.
I don't feel bad about it either.
Yeah, I think the only time I've really done that was the first BioShock game. It's quite like it's not the best control wise, and like some of the battles in it, like the fights in it, were doing my head in. And when I got to like my last stream for it and I knew I was going to have the final boss, I just dropped the difficulty to easy. So because I just wanted to finish it. I was just like,
from the start.
I'm like, I know that I'm already struggling and I don't want to go through this last fight and just hate it. So I just wanted to finish the game that day. And I was just like, you know what? I'd rather just see how the story ends, because I've heard the story is amazing. So I'm just going to enjoy the story and not care about the fight. And I did the fight super easy and it did not bother me in the slightest. I was just like, cool.
Oh, yeah.
I just wanted to know how it ended so I could get through it.
That's the main reason why I'm always going to play on the easiest mode, because like
Me too.
yeah, I'm there for the story and I'm there for the experience and the characters and the dialogue and all of that. Like, yeah, the fighting's fun and I obviously want to be like, I enjoy doing it, but I also don't want to get frustrated about it. So I don't know if I'll ever play games on a higher difficulty. I really vibe with
refuse.
casual and easy. So
Me too.
that's what I do.
Well, this
I
is the
always rage
ridiculous
about it.
thing because yeah, well, I completed Fallout 4 and The Witcher 3 on like the difficulty just below the one that doesn't let you save. So like I was on like the second hardest difficulty for both of those games and
Oh my
completed them.
god.
Like with the like in the boss fights in The Witcher 3 DLCs are ridiculous. And that didn't bother me. Like for some reason that doesn't bother me. It's like the minute you put me in a linear game, I all of a sudden panic that I can't do it. I don't know what it is. It's just like my brain like this does this thing. It just doesn't like linear games. The only way I'm getting through a linear game is I have to like be really enjoying that game. Like I have to really like it, and the story needs to be good enough that I like keep going with it. But yeah, I just end up like I didn't finish God of War, and it's like people's favorite game of like all time, and I just got like so far and was just like, nah, like I'm not even bothered.
Which one, the older God of Wars or like the new?
No, the recent one. Yeah,
Hmm.
Yeah. I just didn't like it was fine and it was good and stuff, but I just didn't like find it like amazing. Like I preferred the BioShock games for sure, but then I'm very much like I need to really like the environment that I'm in the game. Like I have to like what I'm looking at, and I really loved the BioShock. The way that the whole feeling of the game. It's one of the reasons that I loved Soma, even though I don't like scary games, because it reminded me so much of BioShock.
I've
like
heard that
the whole like the way that game looks, especially when you're under the water part.
Yeah,
was so
it
like
definitely has
it.
that rapture feel.
Yeah, and it made me feel like comfortable playing it because I was like, yeah, I love this. Like this is really good. So that like I kept going, but like I could probably count in like one hand the amount of linear story games that I've actually finished. Like I think I've finished the 3 BioShocks, Soma, and The Last of Us 1. I honestly can't remember any other ones. Those are the only ones I can remember that were like completely linear and I actually finished.
See, my enjoyment of linear games heavily contributes to why I like platformers so much, especially like side-scrolling platformers, because with side-scrollers, like whether they're consistently scrolling or like you go to a room and then it like shifts and then you're in that room, even if there's like if you end up in a new room and there's like a puzzle to get through the room, either way it's like you start here and you leave the room over here and then you go to the next room and that's it, and it's just like go. And I, unlike you, KL, I love puzzles, and it doesn't usually take me very long to get through them.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I could assume that just by the fact that you would seem to enjoy mostly Nintendo games. And Nintendo is like
Mario platformer.
Yeah, they're like platformer. They're like platforming mixed with puzzle kings. Like that's what they do.
And puzzle platformers are my shit. Love them.
I hate platformers, but I do love puzzles. Like when I played Final Fantasy X, my favorite parts were when you went into like the areas with the globes with like all the puzzles. Like that was my favorite part of that game. Every time I entered one of them, I was like, yes. Let's do more puzzles. But that's just like my brain enjoys those. Like it just works them out.
I wish. I just feel dumb when I get to puzzles. I'm not good at them.
Oh, but KL, I totally agree with you with I will always play a game on easy because I know a lot of people enjoy playing difficult games because it makes them feel really accomplished when they finally like get through some of the harder areas that they were struggling with or anything like that. I don't want that. I really like easy games because I just want to chill and have a fun time. And that's why I loathed Celeste when I was playing it, because it's so hard. And that's why I loved Spyro, because it's meant for little kids that is really easy. And I loved it.
Well, there's a reason there's different difficulty options, right? This is the thing.
Yeah.
So that there's something for everyone. And funnily enough, as much as I hate platformers, to the point where Ori made me cut a stream midway and just walk out my house to like go like calm down because it was just going to break something. I really liked Celeste, and I tried it, and I actually had a great time with it. And I was just like, I don't understand this in the slightest. But yeah,
I should have ended my Celeste, like my last Celeste stream, way earlier than I did. I knew I was near the end, and I was like, I just want to get through this game. And I was literally sitting there, I'm like, who could possibly enjoy this game? This, like, it's so hard. Like, it has such a focused, like, audience that's not fair. And I was having a terrible time, even though I still think it's a fantastic game. And I honestly want to play it again because now I'm not as terrible at games as I used to be. But it's hard. And it was not my favorite thing the first time
Celeste
around.
is very tight platforming.
I never even tried B-sides or
Yeah.
C-sides.
Oh, no.
Nope.
I just loved like the look of it. Then I think that drew me in. Like it
It is
just looks
really-
so nice.
and
It's
the
such a
music.
nice looking game. Yeah.
Music is so pretty.
As much as I hated like the floating head trying to kill me and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, the guy from the hotel.
And I did only play it for one stream. I did it like as on like I don't know what it was. I think it was my stream anniversary or something like that. I did Celeste, and I also played Ori 2. Like maybe it's not as bad as the first one. No, I hate that game. Like I hate all the Ori games like with a passion. And I played like Ori 2, and I think I lasted about an hour, and I was like, no, I hate this game. Like I hate it.
That's one I haven't played yet. I would like to at some point.
I feel like I don't know that you would like it, Lexi, just because
Really?
like Ori 2, it's not as platformy, but you said you didn't like Hollow Knight, and it's like a clear injection of Hollow Knight into
Oh
into the
no,
Ori
maybe I
world.
won't. I've never played either. I haven't played the first or the second.
The first one is like it's like almost just platforming. There's like some combat, I guess, but the second one they went less on the platforming and much more on the combat. Like, and it reminded
I
me
would
a
agree
lot
with you
of
then.
Hollow Knight.
I probably won't like it then. I agree with you. That's why I feel so lucky to know very much what I will and won't like. And when I talk about what I do like to everyone else, they can very quickly kind of warn me to like, I don't think you'll like that game. And I've avoided a lot of games or like changed my mind and started a different game because friends that have similar like preferences have told me, oh, I loved that game. And I'm like, oh, cool, I probably will too, which is why I haven't abandoned a lot of games on my stream. I've finished majority of them, and I really appreciate having my community and being part of a team in that sense, because people can really help you kind of navigate the millions of games that are in the world.
There's there's just so many of them.
So many.
Like it's the reason why I don't understand how people can like stick. I can understand sticking to a single genre for like streaming, because that still affords you like a large amount of games to play. But like the people that just stick to one game, like it blows my mind.
Yeah. Why would you not want to try all these other great
people
games?
that sit there and play Dead by Daylight constantly, I don't know how they do it.
One of my good friends is a Dead by Daylight streamer.
Ask
and
him
I
how
agree.
they
I'm
do
like,
it.
how do you just stick to the one?
Yeah.
Because even though I'm
seems
obsessed
like
with
a-
Animal Crossing, I only did a month and a half straight. And like, yeah, like, but in the like retrospect of all the other games I've played, a month and a half of one game is not that bad.
No,
Right.
No, and then on top of that, Animal Crossing, like it has like a pretty slow burn. Either like there's always like, even though you're playing it for a month and a half, like it's still like constant like week after week, it's still giving you new stuff, like presenting you with new things, like or when the season changes, or you know
There's
finally
always
like
new
done
bugs
it
and
like
new
enough
fish.
with your island for it to like upgrade or give you like something new to tinker with. Like there's still like a progression there, I feel like.
For sure.
With
There's always something to do.
Yeah, with Animal Crossing, like I reached a point where I hit burnout a little bit. My island wasn't yet done, and I kind of just waited because I knew my motivation would come back for it to go and actually finally finish the island, which happened a couple months ago. But then I got in the mood to like make a rock garden, which I just finished, which I'm really happy
rock
with
garden.
now. And now
So
I'm at the point where
annoying.
it's like I got to clear out the island so now mushrooms can grow, because currently no mushrooms can grow because I have every square inch covered of my island because of that rock garden. So but for me, like Animal Crossing, I think, is always going to have replayability, because my plan is once winter is over and we go back to March, April, like I'm going to get rid of my save data and start over from scratch and do the build up again.
Oh God, why would you do that?
Because I want to do the grind again. I want to do the grind for all the DIYs and the
I
house
don't.
building and everything. The thought of like spending the time to clear off my island and like level it out and start from
That's it.
scratch with a new design. No, I'm sorry.
I
I'd
did
rather
that
just
once
start
already and I
over.
loved it. I only need to catch one more bug to finish the bug part of my museum, so I could not imagine starting over. I would cry. I would cry.
I like that on this pros and cons of like single franchise, single genre variety. I like that we actually went into like the pros and cons of different game mechanics too, like just kind of talking about puzzles versus not, platformers versus not. Like this has been a really great conversation to even just dive in a little bit further on that, and just everybody's different, and I like that there's games out there for everybody. I really do. I think that's
Me
awesome.
too.
Like,
and it's so interesting to like hear about why people like certain genres that you might not like, because it can, I've actually been like encouraged, not like directly encouraged, but just by talking to people, I've encouraged myself to try things that I might not have really enjoyed in the past. I also, like many others, don't really enjoy scary games. However, I've been playing them more, and the more that I play them, the more I enjoy them. And the first one that I finished was Slender Arrival, and then I played Blair Witch during October, and I actually loved Blair Witch. I loved that game, even though I was kind of stressed, but I really liked it.
With a horror
and
game.
now I've been watching more horror movies and like scary shows and stuff, and I think there's no going back at this point. And now I have a whole new range of games to play, and it's exciting.
Yeah,
my problem with horror games is they're usually linear.
That's true.
So it's just like I played the first half of Outlast, and I was like, "This is great. I'll finish it." Never did. Just never finished.
I tried Outlast too, and then as soon as I saw that there was a naked crazy guy, I was like, "Nope, I'm cool. Let's go."
That was when I was like, I was like, yeah. Pain's trying to kill me.
Outlast was my first horror game too.
I liked it. Like I didn't even feel like it was like so scary. Like I was terrified like at the thought of it, and then I played it and I was like, do you know what? Actually, this was quite fun. And I was like, I'll definitely finish this. I just never did. Like it's the exact same with everything. Like honestly, like every linear game that I play, I'll finish this, guys, and then they're just like 6 months later. Like my whole goal for 2020 was to like play more and complete more games, and then I go back to playing Stardew Valley.
I wanted to start a new Stardew Farm really badly lately.
Stardew Valley, I believe.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, we've done everything, so we're just like making it bigger at this point. But yeah, I do this every time. I always say that, and I do like try and sprinkle in more games. But I'm very much like I need to be right in the mood for some sort of story game. Like I woke up one morning and was like, I'm going to try Mass Effect 2, and then ended up completing it, and I loved that game. It was really good, and then I just like don't play another story game for months, you know.
Mass Effect 2 is so good.
It's actually like it made me want to retry one. I tried one a couple of years ago and I couldn't get to grips with the controls like in the slightest. But I feel like now I know how the companion part works, I would maybe get on better, because that's what I struggled with in one. Like I don't feel like it explained it.
No.
And my channel was so small at the time, like there wasn't really anyone in chat to help. Whereas this time, chat were there to like help me understand the mechanics, so like I feel like I could maybe backstep and do one now, but I don't know. Again, it would need to be like at a point where I woke up and was like, Mass Effect 1 now. I'm just going to decide to do that, and then
just make sure you play it. Just make sure you play it through Origin and not Steam, because that was why having it through Steam was what caused it to work for me. About 18 hours in, my tactical menu wouldn't work, and I needed that. I got to a point in the game where I absolutely needed that menu, and I could not get past that one part without that menu, and my game was borked. I tried repairing it and uninstalling, reinstalling, and it just wouldn't work. And then I kind of went on Google, and a bunch of people were expressing issues with playing it through Steam.
That's good to know.
I do want to go back to it, though. I want to go back and finish the whole game. The mechanics are a bit weird. I think Mass Effect 2 did a much better job with the mechanics. Yeah. I felt it much easier to play Mass Effect 2.
It was way more forgiving. Yeah.
For sure.
For sure.
But 2 is so good.
I do want to play 3, and like I liked the world actually. Like once I got into it, and the characters are really good. So well, Morden, that's like the only one I cared about. I couldn't have cared less about anyone else. But I was like, yeah, I think I'll do 3 and probably like try Andromeda as well. To be fair, like Andromeda seems more up my street because it's like more open, like, and there's more free reign in it. And I was like, so that probably would suit me more, to be honest, as much as people like gave it so many things. I'm far more low maintenance with games. I expect far less from them, so I probably would be fine with that one.
I have a friend who loves Andromeda, and based on her opinions of other games that I like that's why I'm not afraid to play Andromeda.
Yeah,
I know someone that
yeah.
really loves it, and so I'm just like, you know what, that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched
And I'll
somebody's
decide
review
for
of it at the
myself.
time, and they were like, "This is why people don't like it, but this is what's good." And I was like, "Yeah, see those things people don't like I don't care about those."
Right.
So that probably be fine for me.
It's funny, there's a lot of games that people, like a lot of people express that they don't like. For some reason, I generally like those games. I don't know why. So if there's a game that people heavily dislike or like try to tell me not to play, I'm like, I'm going to play it and I'm probably going to enjoy it.
So screw it. Let's briefly talk about kind of the pros and cons or our thoughts around streaming a brand new game, something that just came out, maybe still in beta. I mean, I kind of already talked about my experience with Spiritfarer. That's the only game I've played that was literally brand new that I streamed like the next day. Just because I watched the trailer for it and was like, oh my gosh, this looks adorable. And I found that even with all the sponsored streams that Spiritfarer had streamers doing and with the hype around it, I still felt like it wasn't even that much of a clogged category. So it's kind of good for that.
I've streamed a lot of games like right when they came out. I actually did it just last week with Pikmin 3 Deluxe that got re-released on the Switch. I did it with the Super Mario All-Stars, and a while back I played Risk of Rain 2 when it was in early access. A lot of games I will play shortly after it came out, and there's such a big benefit in that because first of all, it's a popular game because it just came out. And second of all, it's also popular because people will come to your stream and watch and ask you questions to see if it's something that they might want to buy before they buy it and try it. It's nice for them to like, yeah, you can go onto YouTube and watch people play it, but then you can't ask them questions and like get direct input for something specific. And I've always really enjoyed people coming in and being like, is it worth it for me to get this game? Because I'm really not sure. And it's also kind of nice to feel like your opinion has value to someone in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the benefits that I have seen from playing a game that just came out. And plus it's exciting because it just came out and you're like, ooh.
I do know that one con that sometimes people experience with brand new games that have a bunch of hype is that if you stream it right away, you might have people not come around because they know that they want to play it and they don't want to be spoiled. And that can be like a very big downside of playing something that's brand new. Like I know
I've heard that too.
Like Baldur's Gate 3 is a good example. Like a lot of people want to play that game. And so for people that are streaming it, you know, those people don't want to get spoiled. Like, I mean, for me, playing these older games, but you know, wanting first playthroughs, like I've also had to avoid certain streams here and there where someone's playing a game that I know that I'm going to play one day, and I don't really want to actively watch because I don't want to be spoiled, right?
Oh yeah, I've been there too.
So, but I feel that that's just even more pronounced when it's a brand new game that is just been released today, right? That nobody's played.
Sorry, go ahead, Dawn.
I was just going to say, I get why streamers won't play them like early because they themselves don't want spoiled, you know, especially if it's a story-driven game like Last of Us 2 or like coming up Cyberpunk and stuff. So I totally get that. I'm just like, I just feel like I don't want to put pressure on my community to try and play the game fast so they can then watch me, or like then they feel like they can't come to the streams because they don't want spoiled. And I just think like I personally like don't want to make them feel like they have to rush out and buy games that are really expensive right off the bat just so they can then watch me stream them. But I very much like I don't really get like super hyped for games coming out, so it helps that I don't feel like I need to play them right away. And like I just played The Last of Us in January, the first one, and I still hadn't been spoiled. Like I didn't know how that story went. So, and even then, like with me, like I always say this, like when I play games, the story part for me is like 40% of my enjoyment. It has the mechanics in the world and the game are the biggest part for me. I have to enjoy those aspects. I won't play a game just because the story is good. So if something gets spoiled for me, I don't really care that much because it's not like
I get
a big part. It doesn't really make a difference to me. It's not going to affect how I enjoy the game, but that's just me. So I don't really stress about whether I'm going to find stuff out. And I'm quite good at just like tuning stuff out, so I don't see spoilers. Like I say, I managed to go, I don't know how old The Last of Us is now, but I managed to go that whole time without knowing how that worked. I didn't know anything about Mass Effect 2 when I played it. I also like have this worry that there's like this, so I don't like to play them when they first come out because they're oversaturated, and I don't like my viewers like worried about spoilers and not being able to watch. But then I feel like for the next few months, are people just sick of that game because it's just been everywhere on Twitch for like 2 months. So like they don't want to watch it anymore. So I tend to just wait like a year.
Yeah.
Like sometimes longer. I just forget about the games and then I like pick them up way down the line, you know. Once people have had plenty of time to like, if they want to play it and they've had time to buy it and play it or whatever, do you know what I mean, at their own leisure, and then they can come enjoy it with me and help me when I get stuck.
That's what I've been doing recently with Luigi's Mansion. I started Luigi's Mansion 3. I played Luigi's Mansion 1 earlier in the year, and it was right around the time 3 came out, and I waited until October to play 3 because ghosts. But like a ton of people finished it earlier this year, and they're having so much fun coming and watching me play it now, like months later after they've completed it, and they're like, "Oh, I loved this game. I hope that you like it." And I have a lot of people there to help me too. I've gotten stuck a couple of times, and literally right away I'll have an answer, and that's nice too.
Yeah, I'd say I would lean. Oh, I guess I would lean towards the camp of like trying to, like, though I have played my fair share of games like close to release or on release, but the one thing that, because story does matter to me like a lot. I generally, like, the reason why I play RPGs and enjoy like the genre so much is because I enjoy the like getting, you know, immersed in the world and getting attached to characters and, you know, really caring about what happens. And the one thing that I've really actually only noticed it if I play a game on its release, not if I play a game like even like 5 or 6 months or longer after it's been released, is there are a lot of people that are just assholes that like to come into the channel and spoil the end of the game or like big story points. One of them,
it's so terrible.
One of them I thought was hilarious that somebody tried to spoil was for Spider-Man PS4.
Never played.
And well, because Spider-Man's stories, like everybody, I feel like if you know Spider-Man, you know Spider-Man. You know who the characters are and you know how the story's going to go, really. Like, there's not really throwing too many curveballs these days with Spider-Man stories. And so this person came in to try and spoil me on that Dr. Octavius is Doc Ock, the villain. And I was like, wait.
No way.
Yeah, they threw in another spoiler, but like at that point they threw in another one that I didn't know, but I could kind of see it happening because just the way Spider-Man stories go. And so I wasn't too annoyed with it, but I just thought it was hilarious because they thought that I didn't know that Dr. Octavius is Doc Ock. I was like, thanks for...
It's literally just a shortened version. Are you kidding?
Mm-hmm. But another one that really ruined it for me was Red Dead. When I was playing Red Dead 2 on release, somebody told me like a big spoiler for the main character, and I was just like, you asshole.
Someone tried to spoil BioShock Infinite for me.
Infinite's so good too.
Yeah, Infinite was the only BioShock game that I had really watched someone play before I played it. So I was going in like mostly blind, but not totally. And thankfully, the thing that they tried to spoil for me, since I'd already watched someone play it, I already knew. And I was like, that's still rude though. You're lucky that I already knew that, because I'd be more mad than I am right now. And that's actually a big part of why I never tag myself with blind playthrough, because I feel like that's just going to draw people in to come and try and spoil stuff. If they don't know that this is the first time that I'm playing the game, they're less likely to try and spoil things for me.
Yeah, I've had people spoil. I really wish that spoilers didn't bother me, but it does. It absolutely does.
Me too.
It just, as soon as I read something, even if it's like just a little thing, I'm just like, it just irks me. It irks me so much. Like, you know, and I feel the same way about like movies and TV shows too, right? Like,
Mhm.
and so, but I understand where people come from, because now that I have a few games under my belt, I felt myself watching other people's first playthroughs of those games. And I get it, like, because I get that feeling in me too, where it's just like, oh my god, I'm so excited. Like, yeah, like so I get it. I get why people end up typing those things. The difference is, I think, because a lot of, like, I'll give people the benefit of the doubt. Like, a lot of people don't realize that saying things like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you to get to what's next, like, they don't realize that in itself is a spoiler.
Yeah, because then like it changes your whole like mood
expectation of
and you're just like, oh, what's gonna happen and how soon, and
exactly.
it feels so different. Instead of being totally surprised, you're like anticipating something.
Yeah. So, but thankfully I haven't had too many, like, I don't think I've ever had a big spoiler. I've had plenty of like little ones here and there. And like I said, Fallout New Vegas for me was the game thus far that I've had the worst offenders in for, like, also backseating, weirdly. That game just brought in a little bit of like backseating and spoilery messages. But yeah, overall it's been okay.
Yeah.
I always feel so bad because I talk to myself rhetorically a lot while I play games, especially puzzle games. And so I'll be like, what am I supposed to do here? And
they're so quick, man. You like
they are.
I'm like,
and I would think that it's kind of obvious that like I'm talking to myself and processing, but people that like, I don't know, people that kind of want to backseat, they'll just jump at it and they're like, technically she asked for help. And it's like, no, like, yes, but no.
That's why,
so I always try to tell people like, I know that you're just trying to help, and I probably did ask and didn't realize, and I appreciate that, but I will make it really clear when I want help. I have a safe word. I have a safe phrase for like, I want help. And I think a lot of streamers do, because of stuff like that, processing and talking to yourself rhetorically.
I think the worst backseating I had was God of War. Like, people went to town on that game with me. You're missing a chest. There's a chest over there. There's a secret bit over here. There's a secret bit over there. And I was just like, I don't care. Like, I care nothing about these chests. I'm just going through this game. Shut up.
Yeah, it kills
it almost makes me want to avoid it more.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like,
I'm really not going to go get this. Like, I'm not going to go look now. Like, I'm just going to leave this area completely.
Just
drive you insane.
Bite you. I'm going to ignore it. How does that make you feel?
You got to go the opposite direction of wherever they tell you to go.
Yeah.
And then just be completely just active, like, oh, am I looking in the right direction? Is this? Yeah.
Like, no, go the other way.
Because I'm very, like, when I go through, like, like the rule I go by with RPGs generally is like, if the RPG tells me to go one way, I go the exact opposite direction and go as far in that direction as I possibly can until the game doesn't let me. Because usually that's where you find the good stuff, is when you walk away from this.
I do that too.
Thing. And but then it really kills me when people are trying, like, when I already noticed the thing that they're telling me to go and do, but I'm just not doing it now. But then they tell me to do it. I'm like, well, now I can't go do it.
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to.
Well, now it's just completely unappealing. But it's this really amazing item. Well, now I'm certainly not going to ever have that item. Thanks.
They're going to think that I'm doing it because they told me to, but I want to do it because I want to.
Exactly.
And now I can't do it because I want to, because they told me. It's like chores too. Every time I tell my boyfriend, like, can you help me with the dishes? He's like, well, I was going to already, but now I don't want to.
Yeah. Weird moments of that in Origins where, like, people in chat would ask like, oh, why aren't you using these abilities? Why didn't you unlock these abilities? And I'm like, because I just decided to unlock these ones instead.
I'm playing the game the way I want.
Okay, even though backseating is terrible, sometimes, actually a lot of times, it has helped me. My the worst offender for me was during Animal Crossing. Someone came in one time and they were like, "Why aren't you running?" And I was like, "I thought I was running." And they were like, "Nope, press this button and then walk." And I was like, "Oh," and like I didn't ask. Obviously, I didn't ask, but they told me anyways. And there have been so many times where people are like, it's nice because I will always prefer, instead of being told, I always prefer people asking, "Why are you doing it
Yes.
this way?" So that it's like, "Oh, okay, if there is a reason that I'm doing something a certain way, I can explain it to you," instead of just being told like you're doing it wrong or something like that. That's always so frustrating.
Yeah, I've set my stream up from the very beginning that, you know, no backseating, but if you do have like a small tip that you think I would benefit from, like relating to the gameplay mechanics more, like just ask first and briefly explain what it is, and then let me know. So then, so I've had a few people that haven't really followed that, and then most people have been very respectful of that. So yeah, I had this one person, like it was during Fallout, the whole mechanic where if you have multiple of the same item, you can like repair them and it kind of combines them all into one.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't know about that. And so that was a tip that I had been given. And I was just like, so I appreciate that kind of stuff where it's just like, okay, it's like the game doesn't exactly explain it to you at all. And it's easily missable. Like little things like that, I'm totally okay with. It technically falls into the backseating, but that I'm totally fine with. If it makes my life better playing the game, then sure.
I think maybe that's something that more heavily applies to like newer gamers, is the more that you play games, especially like different games, the more you see similarities in mechanics and like things that you should be able to do. And as a newer gamer, things that would click for people that already played similar games, you might never realize because you just don't know. Because the games do their best to like give you a tutorial that includes as much as possible, but sometimes there's so much that they're like, okay, we'll touch on the really important things and then everything else they can kind of figure out on their own. I've experienced that a lot with the different Mario games that I've played. Like there's so many different ways that you can move and combinations of buttons that do different things that you would only kind of find out by having played previous games or just button mashing and trying things out to see what happens. And a lot of the time I really only do what I'm told I can do, because I kind of forget like you should experience and like or experiment and try random things and like learn what you're fully capable of. And I've experienced that a lot with people. I always appreciate people coming in and being like, "Is there a particular reason you're not using this move or doing this thing?" And I'm like, "Because I didn't know it existed, that's why."
Well, just like you, I mean, I think I played Animal Crossing for a solid like 2 months before I realized you can run.
Oh my God, I thought I was running the whole time because I played the original Animal Crossing for the GameCube, where the running is way faster than the walking, but the walking speed in New Horizons is pretty quick, actually.
It is.
So I thought I was just running.
Yep. And then I mean, you know, people that have obviously played games a lot, because I think that holding down B and moving is running in a lot of different games, right?
Or like shift.
But you and I didn't have that experience really solidified, so we wouldn't have known, right? Because I vividly remember like Animal Crossing New Horizons does not tell you that. They do not tell you how to run.
No, they never told me anything, and that's only something that you would know from like B is usually run.
Yeah, which I didn't. Yeah, I didn't.
I also didn't know for the longest time that you could like kick a hole closed, because that's not something I'd ever done before. I
only ever kicked. I didn't know you could do the opposite.
Oh, fill it in with a shovel, because that's all you could do in the original Animal Crossing.
Okay. So fun to talk about this stuff. I love it. With that, I see we're at the 2.5 hour mark.
Oh God, already? Really?
It's been quite the beefy cast.
Yeah. It's good though, because we didn't end up having a podcast the weekend that we should have. So we're okay with making this one a little bit beefier and longer. But with that, does anyone in chat want to, I don't know if there's really questions on this one the same way that we had questions for the last one because that one I feel like
we touched on a lot with this one as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like we covered everything. But yeah, if anyone in chat wants to speak up now, like feel free, or even just to like say hi. I've been glancing at chat throughout the whole podcast, and I will say I saw Ever call me out earlier with my I don't like retro games, but I play Stardew or I don't like retro games because of the graphics, but I play Stardew.
Pixel graphics
the
are
cat.
so cute.
Yeah, pixel graphics are pretty timeless.
That's
like-
what drew me to Celeste was the pixel graphics, and Shovel Knight. Those are two of the like super pixely platformers that I've played.
Yeah. Ananda asks, how often and when do you check directories for what you're streaming?
I'm quite bad at checking directories. But what I started doing is on the Twitch mobile app on my phone. I've started following the game directories that I'm currently streaming in, so that when I open up my list, I can see at the top of it what the viewer numbers is in the directories, and then it's right there for me to see, and then I can see, like, when it's quiet and when it gets busier and stuff like that. But that's mostly it. And then I check directories when I'm thinking about switching to games. Like, I have a look at the directory beforehand to see what it looks like.
I absolutely never look at it. I just want to play what I want to play. Because like I said earlier, if I play something that I'm not in the mood for, it's very obvious, even though I try to hide it. So I never check because it doesn't matter. I'm going to play whatever.
I'm kind of the same way. I do like checking. I definitely don't go into like the Sully Gnome directory information to see like past stuff. I'm kind of like Daunt in that I have followed quite a few game categories. Also for just for my own like watching. Like I like following certain game categories, so I can pop in there just to find someone to watch sometimes. Although I should do more of that lately. I don't. But yeah, in terms of like actually analyzing it in terms of like figuring out where I would sit, ever since Twitch came out with that recommended one now, where it doesn't default to viewers high to low anymore. It kind of
That
puts people
bothers
all
me,
over the
though.
place. Yeah, it's like now it's just like, okay, well, now I don't know where I'll place in
Yeah, that's what's
the
really
category.
annoying.
So
I'll be honest, I did used to check sometimes. My boyfriend especially would check for me just to be like, oh, you were like near the top the whole time. And that's always exciting to hear. But now that it's kind of all over the place, it doesn't help me at all. I have no idea where I stand.
Yeah, that's true. When it used to show number wise, I'd probably maybe like or like someone would mention to me where I was.
Yeah,
Or I would
new
maybe
people.
check, but like you say, that doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, now
I
it's
have
more
checked Silly
shuffled.
Gnome once for a game, just to see what my average is like in comparison to what the game averages. But I've only checked it once, and I didn't use it for anything. I was just curious, to be honest. But I mostly base my games on like just how my channel's performing with them in general. I usually use the in the summary stats, you can see how many people came from the browse category, which I like checking. I like that percentage. I like checking that number to see who found me via looking for that through that game and chose my channel to like watch. So yeah, I mostly do that. But I like stats on lots of things, so I do check a lot of stuff.
I do like asking, if someone new has popped into the stream and is starting to talk and everything. Sometimes I just ask them straight up, like, so how'd you find my channel today?
I ask that question all the time because I've had so many different answers. Like, oh, I found your Instagram story. I saw something on Twitter, or like you were near the top and like this is a newer game, and I'm just like looking for chill people that are playing this new game. And so many different reasons people have found me, and it's cool to hear all the ways.
One of my longest viewers went on Twitch because someone that they really liked streaming, really liked to watch stream, started playing Dragon Age Inquisition, and then because she was watching a streamer play that game, I ended up showing up in the recommended on the side.
Oh.
And then she clicked in, and she's been in my community for like 10 months now, or 11 months. So yeah, so it's just cool to know that recommended and browse does work for growing sometimes,
Oh yeah.
But Joe, did you want to add to that question or answer that question?
No, I mean, I feel like you guys. I mean, I've never really paid attention to directories and stuff like that. Like I've looked here and there, but I don't think I've ever made a choice based on it.
Right.
Sam, I don't.
I've always just.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Kind of like I just go with whatever. I guess whatever I'm feeling. So.
Mm-hmm. And that kind of leads into the next question that was put in chat by Happy. Happy asked, all in all, what do you think is the number one thing to think about surrounding game choices and variety? And I feel like the four of us are probably all mostly on the same page, where I think that we would all answer like, just do what you feel and what makes you happy and what you want to play. Like, it's way more entertaining watching a streamer that is 100% in the game that they're playing and like super about it and like can't wait to see what's coming next and all that stuff, right? It's like really engaged and enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, my only caveat to that would be just it depends on, I guess, so it depends on what your goal is with streaming.
Sure.
Yeah.
If
like
you're
I never know what my goal is, which is why I just play whatever.
Yeah, I mean, if your goal, like,
my
if your goal is
it's just
literally
fun.
Just come on here and, you know, stream to whoever wants to watch you and it's a hobby and you're just having fun, then I mean, really just play what is going to give you that fun. But there are people that like their goal with streaming is to like, they want to make money on Twitch and they want to make this a career. And if that is your goal, then you do need to make much more informed choices, and you have to make sure you're lining yourselves up in directories that will help you grow and and like in time zone, like in playing during the time that will help you grow as well. Like there is stuff like that.
That is something that I have considered a lot, especially early on. It's funny because I'm really only thinking about the present and what I do now. But in the past, when I was way smaller and trying to grow, just because like streaming to 0 is discouraging and not as fun. So when I was trying to grow, I would check directories more and see what games were popular, and that I was playing more games early on that I was much less interested in just because they were popular, and I didn't have fun doing that. And so I learned, and I was like, I just want to play games that I like. And the thoughts out of my brain. I don't know what I was saying. It's just totally gone. I don't know why.
Yeah, I've got like a balance where I definitely enjoy the games that I play, and I wouldn't play them if I didn't. But I do play them because they also do well and have good numbers. Like there are plenty of games that I'd be like, oh, I'd love to play that, but I'm never going to play it on stream because I just don't believe people would enjoy watching it. So I just wouldn't do it, or it's so outside the norm of my channel. Or whatever. So I do put thought into that and like try and pick games that fit with the channel that I think people will like, and that also I will like, and will actually help the channel grow. Because at the end of the day, like, I obviously like Twitch and have fun on Twitch, but my aim is to grow my channel. Like, that's what I want to do. So that's how I go about picking my stuff. But I do definitely like, I have to enjoy the games. Like, I'm not going to just pick, like, I'm not just going to jump in a Dark Souls category and start streaming Dark Souls. You know what I mean? Like, that just has no interest to me whatsoever. Even if it meant that it would like get me partner, I wouldn't do that. There has to be like a balance of like games I want to play, games people want to watch, and like there's like a line that I just kind of move around between games. And if I find a game's not doing well, I'll just stop and I'll just be like, nah, I'll just play something else. So
I mean, I guess that's like the thing. Like for me, I guess I don't really have to. I feel like I don't have to think about what to play, because like if you're coming to my channel or you're coming into my channel, the game that I am playing, I don't often deviate. I don't really change the game up enough, like the style of games I'm playing enough, where it's so drastic and flip floppy that like you're not going to enjoy me playing another game that I'm going to play on the channel, you know? So
I'm all over the place.
Well, I mean, like, see, I don't know. Like, every time I see you playing a game, it's always like every time I get to catch a stream, it's always something that's generally it's pretty relaxed. And like, it honestly is. It does have that, like, it does have that Nintendo feel to like the games you tend to pick. It's so like, I feel like like people who come to your stream, like they know the environment and the type of game that they're coming into. So like I don't think any game that you're going to pick is going to be too jarring, which is where I think like
nothing crazy.
That's why I think picking a game that you enjoy is an easy thing to say, because I feel like if you're going to enjoy it, it's going to mesh with who you are and how your channel identifies from that perspective.
For sure. Yeah.
And so it gets easy to just say, pick what you want. But there is a thing of where, like, if you do want to grow, like, you can't just, like, if you do plan on doing like big swings and switches from game to game, you definitely don't want to be like swinging into something that's like alienates those that like do like to hang around in your channel, as well as is into like a dead category. Like, you don't want to just like, you don't want to go like going in there. You usually play RPGs, and all of a sudden we're over there playing Spider Solitaire. Like, that's the game you're gonna stream.
That's where part of my problem comes from, though, because now I'm getting into horror and I play things like Animal Crossing, but then I played Blair Witch, and it's like
I feel like just generally people are so curious about horror games, though. Nobody wants to play horror games, but everybody loves.
They love to come and watch me be scared.
They love to like peek through their fingers at you getting scared.
Or scare you. That's why I always do scary games for charity stuff, because I encourage people to donate, because I'm like, oh, if you donate $5, it'll be a scary alert, and then you can interact with stream, and also it goes to charity. I probably wouldn't ever do a scary game not for charity.
Gotta have that,
because then it benefits no one.
Yeah, you gotta have that drive. I'm doing this for something good.
Exactly. Maybe that's part of why I like horror more, because I know always it's for a good cause. Even if I'm scared out of my mind, it's for a great reason. And then I'm like, yay!
Cool. Well, with that, I don't think there was any other question
No, I think
posted.
I think we gave some good answers off the few questions we got.
Yeah, those were good questions. Thanks, guys. With that, should we wrap up and raid?
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, it has been a rather long stream.
Yeah.
This one was a big boy stream. 2 hours.
Yeah.
I need dinner.
Question 3. I need lunch.
I need food.
Yeah, I need to go and get some food as well.
I
It's
made
like 9 p.m.
I made a promise to myself, like right before we started. I always like to eat chips on stream, and I was like, don't eat chips. Don't eat chips on the Nook stream, because you're going to look like an idiot.
Now you get to go and eat chips.
I'm so excited for my chips.
I'm going to make a quick raid. Message. That works, right? You can repeat that over and over if somebody wants to. Yeah, that works, right? Which Nookians are live? We've got Badger doing Warhammer, King Arg doing Teardown, Twiggy is doing Visage. So continue on a horror talk.
Visage.
Visage. I don't know how it's properly pronounced.
It sounds more fancy that way. Visage.
Yeah. Visage.
I don't know. I call it visage. Is that not right? I just pronounce
visage.
things however I want and just blame it on my accent.
It's probably visage. Yeah. Who do we want to go see?
Who's going? I don't even know.
Do you want horror? Could raid Twiggy. I
Let's
think
say
we've
Twiggy.
rated.
I mean, we were just talking about horror, and now it's only worth it if you're giving to a good cause.
Yeah, we should. All right. I will. All right. I'll kick off that raid there. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. This was super fun. Lexi, Daunt, thank you so much for raising your hand and volunteering to talk with Joe and I about this topic. I think it was really good. I certainly had fun and learned a lot actually about both of you as well.
Yeah, I learned a lot about you guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
And thank you everybody in chat for being here. It was lovely to see so many awesome was going to say faces, but usernames rather. So many awesome people hanging out and chatting during the podcast. We love having you here. Expect another one in roughly 2 weeks from now ish. Yeah. And make sure to follow, if you haven't already, YouTube, Twitter, all those things. But let's go say hi to Twiggy friends and wish you a good rest of your weekend.
Yeah, good rest of November.
Enjoy. Bye.
Take care.
I love you.